Hello, everyone, and welcome back to our monthly issue of Candid Conversations with a Housewife. I am your favorite housewife, Mrs. Jenny. And so I am really excited about today's episode because it came to me almost as if it were in a dream. I was just laying in bed one late night, and the idea of, how things are really not as different as we think that they are, and how times change, but people don't, just came to me. And so I just wrote up, where I do all of my show notes are on my phone. And so I was just thinking, and I started listing off all these different things of how our culture has changed over the time. And so this episode was born. And so some of this I thought was really interesting. Um, Thank you, Byzantine. All of it is very interesting, but some of this I had never heard of before. It kind of shocked me that it happened so early on, because some of these things I thought happened later on, but some things I thought that happened in the 60s happened in the 40s. And so we're going to get into all of this. And you guys are going to see just how that, the Sexy Reds and Cardi B's and Glorillas of today did not just fall out of the sky, okay? They did not happen in a vacuum. It is actually the very logical end result of what's been happening over the last 100 years. And so I'm going to prove that to you, since you don't need to take my word for it. But most importantly, of course, we got to get what the Bible says about this. And so there is a very apt verse that I want to bring up. So let's do that. Why does it always do that? Hold on just a second. And some of you probably know where I'm going with this. Okay. Let's see here. Share screen. Okay. And so here we are at Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9. Wait, why isn't it showing up? Can I bring it up? Is it showing? I don't know if I can bring it up, but let me see. If I can't bring it up, then that's okay. Then I'll just read it off to you. There we go. Okay, I guess I don't have control over it. But okay, so thank you. So yes, Ecclesiastes chapter 1, verse 9, it says that the thing that has been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done. And there is no new thing under the sun. Is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come to those that shall be come after. And so, yes, these verses are so true, and they're so apt, because the first thing it says that the thing which hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun. And so, yes, things just keep recycling and coming back around and being refreshed and being revived, and people keep reselling the same thing and saying, oh, it's new. Without those, many of us wouldn't even exist. That's a fact, okay? Because some of these things I'm gonna start listing off, your grandmas and your great grandmas are guilty of. Hate to break it to you. And then in verse 10, it says that, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new? It hath been already of old, which was before us. And so I know that pretty much on my platform, and especially over here on Black Man Unfiltered, I am like the youngest person. Like, I don't think I have any subscribers that are like younger than me or even my same age. I think the closest person that I know of that's my age is Van's 22. And so, but he and I were in the same high school. And so he's like a few months older than me. So he's the closest one. So I'm like the youngest person that I know of that, is around my content. And so I know that that older people, they love to romanticize the past, and they love to say that, oh, things were so much better before you came along, Virginia. You weren't alive. I mean, I was born in 1998, and so I was around in the 90s, but I don't remember it, obviously. And so people love to say that, oh, you missed all the good days. Um, and you don't know what it was like back then when things were awesome, back when we had Freaknik. And back when, when people actually danced at clubs, you just don't know what it was like back then because you're just too young. Friend, let me just tear down all of that. I know that I'm only 25 years old, but let me tell you, the Bible is way older than all of us. And it said, even then, let not any man say, oh, this is new. Okay. It's the same old stuff. Women been dropping neck for money from the very beginning. So friends, we're going to get into it. And we're even going to get a special guest that I didn't realize, but hey, this content is too good. I got to share it with everybody. And so, yes, starting off, and I'm giving you guys even a little bit more than 100 years, because if there's one thing I love to do, it's over deliver. So yes, there's that. And so starting off in the 1920s, we're not gonna start in 1924. We're gonna start at the beginning of the 1920s. And in August of 1920, women get the privilege to vote. Now, we're already off the rails. I know. Because Virginia, why would you include in 100 years of hoes women getting the right to vote? Now, am I saying that women should not have the right to vote? Now, okay, let's clarify, because I'm big on language and verbiage. And so the right, I would not say, but the privilege to vote. And the reason why I included this in the list today is because this, now, like I said earlier, things have been bad from the very beginning. But I would say that when it comes to America, things really took a steep turn once this came along. Now, that's just my opinion. Of course, this is my platform, so I'll say what I want. But from my analysis, it seems like once women got the right to vote, it all kind of went downhill. And so, and one of the reasons why I say that is because why should women get the privilege to vote if they're not going to be forced to be a part of conscription, which is the draft? And so that's why men have the right to vote, because if you're a man and you're voting, then you're voting for someone who might possibly send you off to war to get blown to pieces. And so that seems fair. But women, we got the privilege to vote, and we don't have to be a part of the draft. And being a conservative, I really am not a fan of women voting because most women vote Democrat. And so I don't care for that. And so if I had to lose my personal right to vote to stop all these chicken heads from voting, then that's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. But I will just say that in general, it does seem from my research that it kind of it got sour fast from the 1920s. And so moving on from that, flapper girls. And so we're still in the 1920s, of course. If I don't know if it's Black Man or David who's running the back controls, but if you could put like a banner for each decade that we're in, that would be awesome. So right now we're in the 20s. And so, yes, so in the 1920s, flapper girls emerged. And so I'm sure we're all familiar with the idea of flapper girls. I can pull up an image for you guys because even though I'm sure most of you are familiar with the concept of a flapper girl, but that is when that popped off. Okay, so yeah, you can pull this picture up. Put that all next to me as well. And so, yes, and so flapper girls. This was a trend that jumped off in the, why is it not coming up? Okay. In the early 1920s, where the women, they were seen with their different hemline of their, with a different hemline for their dress. Their undergarments were changing. They went from having the really strict coarse corsets to just wearing what we understand today as like underwear, like bras and panties. Not having all that structure, not wanting to show off their shape as women. They wanted to have more kind of like boyish shapes. As you can see, that was when having short hair really rose in popularity, which I'm not a fan of, women having short hair. They were, oh yeah, that was when women wearing heavy makeup, that's when that, started to become popular. As you can see, they all have dark lips on, dark lip colors. They were known for their smoking and their drinking and their carousing. So hot girling, the flapper girls of the 1920s were the hot girls of today. And so, yeah, those are the things that they were kind of popularized for. They were out at the bars, they were, going to the nightclubs and just kind of, out and about, out on the streets. And so, yes, this is when in American society, women, they kind of started to shake themselves from the shackles of, that traditional kind of like getting away from that old style. I don't know if I want to say Victorian style, but like the corsets, like the Titanic style, y'all. So like if anybody, of course you've seen the Titanic movie, and how the women were dressed back then, very, very elegant, and they looked very feminine. They were moving away from that coming in the 1920s. And in 1923, the Attorney General declared that it was okay for women to wear pants in public. Now, this is probably another thing where you're like, Virginia, what's wrong with women wearing pants? Well, as far as I'm concerned, the Bible says that it's a bad thing for women to wear pants. It does not say that explicitly. And so, if someone wants to, challenge me on that, then, we could talk about that. But what it does say is that a woman shall not put on that which pertaineth to a man, neither a man put on a woman's garment, for it is an abomination to do so. And that is, thank you, Hank. Now that is Deuteronomy chapter 22, verse 5, if I'm not mistaken. And so basically, so what that verse is saying explicitly is that it's a sin to cross-dress. And so cross-dressing is that's clear, is what it's saying. Now, where we can get kind of fuzzy is where it's saying like, women should not wear pants. And the reason why I subscribe to the idea that women should not wear pants is because historically speaking, especially in European culture, which is what American culture evolved from, is European culture, pants were always seen as men's clothing. And in most of the world, pants are seen as men's clothing. And so today, it's commonplace. Most women have pants in their closet. It's as natural as rain to see women in pants. But when you actually look at the history behind it, it was not the Christian women. It was not the fundamental women. It was not God's women who were pushing this change in society. And so, you can be a very godly woman and wear pants today and have no idea. Like, that's what I did for most of my life. I was trying to be a good, wholesome Christian woman and had no idea that pants were a symbol of rebellion and a symbol of ungodliness to a woman, because our society has completely changed. We'll be talking about later on how like red lipstick before used to be seen as something that only prostitutes would wear to let men know, like, hey, check out what that mouth do. And so they were trying to allure men to their mouths by wearing this red lipstick. And I'm sure some of you older ladies, you probably heard like your mom or your aunt tell you like, don't wear that red lipstick, that's for whores or that's for hoochies or whatever. And so, there's validity to that. But today, most women, they wear red lipstick and they don't think anything of it. And so we have changed as a society, but, I don't think it's a bad thing to go back to the way that certain things used to be. And when I think of, women wearing skirts and dresses, I think that means that they have a more submissive mindset. They're not, they don't have a rebellious mindset. They're not interested in pushing the norms. Because as a Christian, I'm not interested in pushing norms or bending norms or breaking outside of societal confines, because, that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to be a good Christian woman and get people saved. Like, I'm not here to break boundaries and, whatever. Like, that's not what we're here for. And so, a lot of that was going on in the 1920s. And so, you know, what we have today is a product of what was coming on yesterday. And even though in 1923, it was deemed to be okay, because before then women could get arrested for wearing pants under the criminal punishment of cross-dressing. So when a woman was wearing pants before this time, they would get arrested for the crime of cross-dressing, because cross-dressing used to be a crime in America, just like homosexuality, but that's for a whole other stream. And so, yes, now, you know, it's just that over time things have been laxed and people just kind of, it's whatever, it's laissez-faire. But, you know, there's something to that. And, you know, we should want to get back to a more fundamental way of looking, especially if we're conservatives. You know, what are we conserving if we are conservatives? You know, we should want our women to look like women and look wholesome and look Christ-like. But moving along, I also pointed out some different songs. Now, some of these decades have more influential things that happened than others. But one thing about the 20s were some of the music, because, you know, like we're talking about how, you know, we end up with like Cardi B and Megan Thee Stallion. But, you know, music from the 1920s was not, you know, all pure and wholesome either. So let me pull up some of these lyrics from this song. Here we have a song by this group, I believe. Now, I did not previously look up these lyrics. I just looked up raunchy songs from the early 20th century. And so this is just one that came up. Okay, wait, is that right? It's not right. Charlie Poole. Okay, let's see if we can find these lyrics. Okay, there we go. And so these are just an example of, you know, lyrics from songs that, you know, because we like to think that, oh, you know, back in the day, it was all I Want to Hold Your Hand and LOVE by Nat King Cole. Like, it was just so sweet and wholesome back in the day. Oh, really? And so this is the song called Don't Let Your Deal Go Down Blues by some guy named Charlie Poole. And some of the lyrics are that now I've been all around this whole wide world, down to Memphis, Tennessee. Any old place I hang my hat looks like home to me. Now I left my little girl crying, standing in the door, throwed her arms around my neck, saying, honey, don't you go. Now I've been all around this whole wide world, done most everything. I've played cards with the king and queens, discard the ace and the 10. It's don't let your deal go down. Don't let your deal go down. Don't let your deal go down. Before my last gold dollar is gone. Now, where did you get them high top shoes? Dress you wear so fine. Got my shoes from a railroad man and my dress from a driver in the mine. Who's gonna shoe your pretty white feet? Who's gonna glove your hands? Who's gonna kiss your lily white cheeks? Who's gonna be your man? Now, Papa may shoe my pretty white feet. Mama can glove my hand. She can kiss my lily white cheeks till you come back again. Huh? I'm guessing that what's happening in this story is that he's, you know, leaving his wife and going off and meeting strange women. It kind of sounds like that song Papa Was a Rolling Stone. So yeah. And then, so yes. And then
I'm a PhD.
And so I had another example from the 1920s, but I think I might save that one for later in the discussion. But so now we're going to move on to the 30s, which had some very interesting topics. And so one of the things from the 1930s that started off is that the character of Betty Boop is created. And I'm sure all of you are familiar with Betty Boop. And now, what I found, because I had heard this before about the history of Betty Boop, but it turns out that Betty Boop actually was created from the, um, like, she was based off of a Black woman. And the reason why I heard that, and I was like, oh, that's probably not true, it's because Black people love to just take credit for everything. Like I was having an Instagram debate with this girl the other day, and she said that pretty much like all mermaid lore came from African culture, and I was like, that is not true. Like Black people just love to take credit for like, oh, Black people invented this, they invented that. Oh, did you know that this came from Black culture? This came from Black culture. It's just like, so I don't know what's true and what's false anymore. But turns out this one actually checks out, and so she actually was based off of a Black woman. Her name was Esther Jones, no relation. And so she was a jazz singer from the 1920s. And then the man who created Betty Boop, he saw her and he created this character based off of her. And now I'm very familiar with Betty Boop. Like, obviously, she's been on, windshields and car bumpers for a long time. And she's been air fresheners. And I don't know if she ever was like a TV character, but I've just always seen her like in picture form, like just like, as stickers or whatever. And so this is not a character that is wholesome. She has this itsy bitsy little dress, and then she has this garter that is way up her thigh. And so, how does this represent, good, wholesome Christian values? And this is from the 1930s. And so, we had pinup girls. Now, those were like in the 50s. And for some reason, I didn't include those in the list. It's just like the more I think about it, the more things come to mind of examples. Oh, okay. So she was a TV character? Okay, I didn't realize that. And so, yeah, this is an example of one of these loose women being glorified in mainstream culture, because this is not some little known character. Like, she's everywhere. Everybody knows about Betty Boop. And she is a cartoon. She's a cartoonish prostitute. She's a cartoonish whore. She's wearing this outfit that, most people today would say, well, not most people today, but conservatives would say, this is not a good outfit. This is not something that a wholesome woman would put on. But, we all see this and we all just think that it's okay because it's from the past. And our eyes have been clouded and our judgment has been clouded based on this. And so going from Betty Boop, the concept of sunbathing is introduced in the 1930s. And so sunbathing is introduced, and so swimsuits begin to have lower backs, plunging necklines, and two pieces are introduced that show off the midriff. We do not get into bikinis just yet, but we do start to have two-piece bathing suits. And so before this, all bathing suits were one pieces, or like at least 99% of bathing suits were one pieces. Europe is different. Europe, they're a little bit ahead of us when it comes to being vulgar. So they might have had already had some. But when it came to America, not only were all the swimsuits one pieces, but they were like long. And there are pictures of women. Well, don't take my word for it. Let's just pull it up. Pictures of women getting checked at the beach, like getting dress coded. Yes. And so here, prime example of a woman who is getting her swimsuit, hold on, measured at the beach, and look at these swimsuits. They're and these aren't even, they come a little bit above the knee. And so they're not even, as long as they should be. But I mean, if you walked onto the beach with this now, people would look at you like, what is she wearing? Like, is she Muslim or something? And there are still websites today that have swim dresses that come down to the knee, and they have leggings underneath. And some of them are sleeveless, some of them have sleeves, some of them have long sleeves, depending on, what you want, what you're looking for. And so these still exist today, but they're just not the norm. But, not even that long ago, because 100 years is not that long ago, really, in the grand scheme of things. Especially if you believe that the Earth is billions of years old, which is not. But especially if you believe that, then 100 years is not very long at all. But even in the accurate time frame of how old the Earth is, which is 6,300 years old, 100 years is like that. And so the fact that things have changed so much from having length checks at the beach to now, not only do women not get checked at the beach, I mean, they're basically naked. Like, you cannot go to the beach without having your eyes molested by naked women just trying to show off literally as much as they can without getting arrested for public indecency. But it's everywhere. Like, now you can't even go to the gym. I mean, since when did clothes become optional at the gym? You see these women in these little tiny shorts that are digging in their butt. They're in these little tiny bras, and they're doing all these crazy exercises where their legs are like spread wide open and their ankles are above their head. And it's like, why do I have to just be inundated with nudity and vulgarity everywhere that I go? But in the not so distant past, people could go to the beach of all places and enjoy fun in the sun and not be inundated with nudity. What a time. And so some other another song that is emblematic of that time period not being so perfect. Oh, another thing before we get into a song is that the little black dress becomes popularized. And so, I'm sure you're familiar with the term, the little black dress. It's not a specific dress. It's not a specific style of dress, but instead it is just it's just I guess it is a style, but it's just a black dress that is, a little bit more sexy, a little bit more provocative. And so that is in the 1930s is when that becomes popularized. And so let's pick one of these songs that I went through. Let's see what we have here. Okay, I think this is the one that I wanted. Yeah, this is what I want. So I actually have read the lyrics on this one before, and I can't even say all the lyrics on this. This song is so vulgar. And if you can believe it, it came from the 1930s. And so this is a song entitled Shave 'Em Dry by a woman named Lucille Bogan, who I think they said that she was a jazz singer at the time. But yeah, I mean, guys, take a load at these lyrics. I mean, honestly, I can't even say all of them. They're so crazy. But it starts off by saying, I got nipples on my titties, big as the end of my thumb. I got something between my legs and make a dead man. Anyways. Oh, daddy, baby, won't you shave 'em dry? Now draw it out. Want you to grind me, baby, grind me till I cry. Say I effed all night and all night before, baby, and I feel just like I wanna F some more. Oh, great God, daddy, grind me, honey, and shave me dry. And when you hear me holler, baby, want you to shave it dry. Now, I'm gonna spare you any more of these lyrics. You ain't talking about bars. This is crazy. I mean, did you ever in your wildest imagination think that you would hear these lyrics coming out of the 1930s? Literally the 1930s Sexy's Red. And we think that Pound Town is vulgar and lewd and explicit. I mean, good night. I don't even know if Lil' Kim has lyrics this bad. Now, I think I have one of her songs in here later on. I'm not sure. I lost track of who all I put in here. But I mean, guys, not you guys enjoying it. Y'all are crazy. But yeah. And then of course, like, it was actually recorded, so you can go listen to it if you can even stomach it. But yeah, I mean, we think that, I don't want to get ahead. I don't want to spoil it because we're gonna get into all the craziness of later on. But yes, y'all, the 1930s was putting out lyrics like this. like certified, like parental advisory notice on the bottom and everything. Like, Nikki who? She was really out here. She is the blueprint for all the hoes of today. Um, but yeah, y'all, absolute craziness. I mean, I had a really good time collecting the notes for this show. And so moving forward, we're going to jump into the 1940s. And I have another song for you. So most of these, I just have songs because I couldn't collect a whole lot of like other things that happened. Oh, but before we get into that song that I want to bring up, on July 5th of 1946 is when the bikini debuted. And so I'm not going to show a bikini, of course, because that's nakedness. But yes, and so I didn't realize that bikinis came out in the 1940s. I thought that came later on. But yeah, in the 1940s is when that came out. Okay, let's see here. Now, I don't think, did I go over these lyrics? I don't remember if I went over these lyrics or not. But so yeah, here's another crazy song. It's called Knocking Myself Out by Lil Green. And so not only are these lyrics crazy, but, well, actually, I don't know if the lyrics are crazy or not. I'm assuming that they are because they were in my list of crazy songs from the early 20th century. But the name is right on par. I mean, you could stick this lady right into 2024, like Lil Green. And so here are some of these lyrics for you guys. It says here, girls and boys, I got one stick. Give me a match and let me take a whiff quick. I'm going to knock myself out. Yes, I don't know if I can say that over here, delete myself. I'm going to knock myself out gradually by degrees. I started blowing my gauge and I was having my fun. I spiced the police and I started to run. I was knocking myself out. Yes, I was deleting myself. I was knocking myself out gradually by degrees. But the very moment I looked around, my mind said, Lil, throw that gauge on the ground. Okay. The police captain said, delete yourself. The police captain said, delete yourself. I said, knock yourself out. Yeah, gradually by degrees. I used to didn't blow gauge, drank nothing of the kind, but my man quit me and that changed my mind. That's why I knocked myself out. Yes, I deleted myself. I knocked myself out gradually by degrees. I'm gonna blow this jive. It's a sin and a shame, but it's the only thing that eased my heart about my man. Is when I knock myself out. Lord, when I delete myself, I just knock myself out gradually by degrees. And so now you and I were reviewing these lyrics at the same time. And so what this song reminds me of is that song by, what is that guy's name? Sean Kingston. That song by Sean Kingston, Beautiful Girls, where he's like, you wait to beautiful girls, they always want to do you dirt, they'll have you suicidal. That's what this reminds me of. Because I'm assuming, because just what I'm collecting, we're looking at this at the same time, folks, is that she's saying that she is like drinking herself to death and she's smoking herself to death because her man broke up with her. And so that's what's happening. Let's look at another one. This is interesting. So let's see here. Look up another one of these lyrics. Junkers Blues by Champion Jack Dupree. And this came out in 1940. Okay. All right, this is Junkers Blues. And this says, let me make it bigger so you guys can see it. Says, my, I'm sick as could be. Some people call me a junker because I'm loaded all the time. I just feel happy and I feel good all the time. Some people say I use a needle And some say I sniff cocaine, but that's the best old feeling in the world that I'd ever seen. Say goodbye, goodbye to whiskey, Lord, and so long to gin. I just want my reefer. I just want to feel high again. Oh yeah, I'm a junker. I feel all right. Some people crave for chicken, and some people for porterhouse steak. But when I get loaded, Lord, I won't want my milk and cake. Oh yeah, that's all I want now. They call me a junker because I'm loaded all the time, but that mean nothing if I feel good all the time. Okay, and so this is kind of what I assumed it was going to be. Junker is, I guess, old slang for junkie. So he is proud of the fact that he is a crackhead. And so, yeah, so I guess this is not so much as popularizing or glamorizing hoeing as much as it is like, so this is I guess this is the Juice World of the 1940s. Who was talking about, he popped a perk and only caught a buzz, basically. So yeah. Yeah, it's like these lyrics. Craziness. Okay. And so now we're jumping on to the 1950s, which is kind of where this is where I started my list, because this is where my own personal knowledge was kicking in. I had to do research I had to find stuff for the previous decades, but I was kind of already knew about some things that went on in the 50s and 60s and, further on. And so this is where we're jumping up into like more modern history, more where, there are people who are still around from this time period. And so, yes. And so in the 1950s, that's when stilettos get invented. In 1953, the movie How to Marry a Millionaire, starring Marilyn Monroe, comes out. And we can pull up the details of that movie. Now, I think I've seen this movie, actually. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I think it was on Netflix. So I'm pretty sure. Okay, what's happening? Okay, so over here, it gives us the description of the movie. And this came out January 1st of 1953. So like smack dab in the 50s. And it says that Chance Page, Loco Dempsey, and Paula DeVoice are three women on a mission. They all want to marry a millionaire. To accomplish this task, they move into a fancy New York City apartment and begin courting the city's elite. They have no problem meeting rich men, but unfortunately, most of them turn out to be creeps or cons. Eventually, they must decide, is a life of luxury more important to them than finding true love? Now, this is, hey, Arpane. How are you this evening?
Fine. You don't have to stop and cook. I was going to wait for you to finish cooking, but they put me up right away. So how you doing?
I'm great. I wasn't feeling good earlier in the day, but I started thinking about my show and I ate a little snack, and so I'm at full capacity now.
Yeah, I was just peeking in, so I got a call, said, well, come on up. I said, all right, so you're going to try to get me in trouble. So I'm going to let you do all the talking. If you need me, just ask me. I had some things on this, but a lot of this is best coming from a woman.
Okay. And so, yeah, you can probably start, just letting me know about some personal things that you've experienced or you've seen once we get up into like the 70s and 80s, because, you probably have friends who you've seen crazy stuff from. And so we can get it, straight from the horse's mouth when we get up there.
Okay, go ahead. Whatever I can do, I got a little bit of stuff I can add, but I think you're going to cover some of it as you come up into the 60s. So,
okay,
go ahead.
And so, yes, this movie description of How to Marry a Millionaire, this is literally what women are talking about to this day. The whole high value man conversation that Kevin Samuels, didn't start, but I got kind of popularized. These women, they're all trying to marry a millionaire. They're all trying to marry some guy who makes $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 because they all think that they deserve it because everyone thinks that they're a 10. And now in this movie, what is it? Lauren Bacall, Betty Grable, and Marilyn Monroe. Now, these were all actually really beautiful looking women. And so they kind of had the command of rich and influential men in the movie and in real life as well. And so it wasn't as crazy as when you go on TikTok and see these women who are just the epitome of average talking about, oh, I need a man who makes at least 600K. It's like, what on earth are you talking about? And so, yes, these women, they did not come out of a vacuum. These are the type of women who are the great granddaughters of the kind of women who went and saw this movie in theaters in 1953 and thought, ooh, how fun and exciting would it be for me to marry a millionaire? And this was back when $1 million was actually a lot of money. So they just, that kind of mindset was being popularized and being put out to the public and saying, ooh, this is so alluring, this is something to aspire to. And at the end of the day, the movie, it shows them, not all marrying for money, but still, the bulk of the movie takes place with them trying to do that. And that, and that is what it glamorizes. Aya says that great movie. Marilyn Monroe, Lauren Bacall, Betty Gable, they were all pinup girls during their war. Yeah. So these were, actually really beautiful women. These were actually like 8s and 9s and possible 10s. And even they had a hard time. So of course these women today who are overweight and sloppy looking, they're not going to be able to command that kind of money from these men. It was fashion. Yeah. And then, okay, we have 2 song examples from the 1950s that I wanted to bring up. And now you guys are actually probably familiar with these songs because I'm familiar with them. And if I've heard of them, then I know you've heard of them. First one being Santa Baby by Eartha Kitt. And now, I don't know what other people, think about this song, but for me, whenever I think of this song, I just think of how, like, this is the one and only, like, provocative, like, sexy Christmas song. Like, it seems strange, like this is, what's being advertised for this song, and the way that she sings it is so, like, it's so breathy, and, she's calling Santa baby. And, just to go over these lyrics, it says, Santa baby, just slip a sable under the tree for me. Been an awful good girl. Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Santa baby, a 54 convertible too, light blue. I'll wait up for you, dear. Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. Think of all the fun I've missed. Think of all the fellas that I haven't kissed. Next year, I could be just as good if you check off my Christmas list. Santa baby, I want a yacht. And really, that's not a lot. Been an angel all year. Santa baby, so hurry down the chimney tonight. And so, this song is first off, it's materialistic. She's glorifying, material things. She's glorifying possessions. And yeah, Bella said that she was the best Catwoman. I've never seen her Catwoman. I've only ever seen the Halle Berry Catwoman, and that was a train wreck. So I'm sure she had to have done better than that. But yeah, this is glorifying materialism. It's glorifying consumerism. And she's and in the bridge when she says, think of all the fun I've missed. Think of all the fellas I haven't kissed. What kind of fun are you referring to, Eartha, that you missed out on? And it sounds like Santa is her sugar daddy, like Santa is her pimp. And she was withholding herself, and she was being chased for Santa, so that way he could drop some money on her, drop these gifts on her, drop a yacht and a brand new convertible, and all this stuff. Later on, she wants a ring. And yeah, so I mean, it's just like she's like trying to allure and entice and seduce Santa Claus, and saying that, okay, well, I've been good and I haven't been kissing any of the other guys, and so because I've been good, now you gotta hand over the goods. I mean, she's literally a sugar baby, and this is a Christmas song, and this is considered a classic, and people play it at the family get-together. It's like, oh, let's all get around the fire and listen to this lady whole herself out for Santa. Eartha Miss Kitt was a hoe. Hey, I mean, I don't know much about her. Of course, me being 25, I was introduced to her because she was the voice of Yzma in The Emperor's New Groove. Terrific movie, 10 out of 10. But I mean, yeah, if this was the kind of music that she was putting out at Christmas time, I mean, I can only imagine what kind of music she was putting out on the regular. And then the other song from this time period, from this decade, that I want to bring up is okay. So this is a song called Short Shorts by a group called the Royal Teens. And I actually heard the song recently because I have this older lady whose house I clean, and she, she's real cool with me. Like we're really good friends. I've been talking to her for years, and so she lets me like change the TV at her house, and because she just, how like older people just love to have the TV on all day, and so she'll play like the music channels on the TV. Like she has the prepaid movie music channels, and so she had on like the solid gold oldies on. And this is one of the songs that came up. And I was listening to it and I was like, that's interesting. And so I looked up the lyrics, and I really didn't even need to look up the lyrics because, songs back then, you could actually understand what they were saying. You didn't, it wasn't mumble music. But it says here that, man, dig that crazy chick who wears short shorts. And then there's a women chorus that says, we wear short shorts. They're such short shorts. We like short shorts. Who wears short shorts? We wear short shorts. And then that is like the song. That's pretty much all of the song. It's like, who wears short shorts? We wear short shorts. And are the women who are singing in this chorus, are the women who are singing the song, are these kind of women that you think are the ones who are at home, obeying their husbands, being submissive, going to church every Sunday? Are these the kind of women that you think are singing the song? No. It's these fast women, it's these loose women, it's these, young women from the 50s who think that, short shorts are so cute and they're so cool, and I'm gonna have it all the way up my backside, and I'm gonna be out here, and I'm gonna be wearing short shorts, so all the young men, they can come look at me and come look at my posterior. And this is not good. And this was a popular song from the 50s.
So let me add something. Let me add something to what you're saying.
Yeah.
A lot of these songs are like a wish list. And when I say it was a wish list, of course, there was loose women of all ages, but a lot of women who sang this song was still tied to old thinking. Because everything you're talking about now was still before the pill.
Oh,
Right.
okay.
So the women might have wanted to start to be promiscuous, but they were still bound by medical reasons, by being cautious because of pregnancies and things of that nature. So yeah, there were loose women, but every woman who was singing these songs were more like, gosh, man, if I really had this freedom, what would I do with it?
Mm-hmm.
You're right. So we're getting into the age when you go into the 60s where that freedom became more possible. So I'll let you continue because I have a song for you in the 60s when you get there.
Uh-oh.
That some lyrics, and then we can get there. But I mean, not to say there weren't women fooling around, but all the women who might have liked this song weren't necessarily all loose, but they would say, wow, what would life be like if I could do some of the things I'm singing? Because
Sells the dream.
Yeah.
And that's a good point that you bring up, because we're about to jump into the 60s now, and so you're right, because in the early 1960s, the FDA approved the first oral contraceptives, and so when this song, because when did this song came out in 1957, the short song, I guess the Royal Teens and the women who are singing on the song, they're selling the dream of, you want to wear short shorts because you want to show your body off so you can get railed by everybody in town. But that was not, fully viable then. And it's just like now, like Beyonce, she made that song, Single Ladies, and all these women talk about, they make these songs about how they'll leave a guy the second he cheats. But these are all married women. And these are all women wwho are not only married, but most of them waited until they were married to have kids and start families. Like Rihanna, she's singing about how she wants a rude boy to beat it up and do all this stuff. This woman is married with 2 kids.
Yep. You know, a lot of this was called sexual misery. And it's usually they don't kind of just say it's with women, but it's mostly on the women's side. Because the men would be down for whatever sexual activities women came up with because we don't control that. It's really women who are under different social, medical, legal, ideological, religious, and other kind of mores that kind of kept women bound, like marriage and all that stuff. And now we're starting to see that's starting to ease and stretch. And then when you just said it, 1960, when the pill came out, when it was supposed to be for birth control, it changed everything. Everything. And so you can continue, and we'll hear this. I don't want to interrupt you, but the evolution was there. So this is an evolutionary change into where we're going now. So when we hit the 60s, and 60s to the 80s was called the sexual revolution, period.
Yes, you're absolutely right. But I'm getting a fact check in the comments. But so I don't know.
What they say?
They're saying that Rihanna is not married, but I could have swore that they were married. But maybe I'm wrong.
She didn't get married yet.
Oh, they're not married.
No, they're not married.
Oh, okay.
But I think she actually likes the dude, though.
Okay.
I think she actually likes him, but they're not married.
Okay. All right. Because I had heard that they got married, but okay, I'm mistaken. So, all right. But yes, so now we're in the 1960s, and that is when the first oral contraceptives is put on the scene. In 1964, the miniskirt makes its way on the scene. And miniskirt is created.
So can I add something? Okay, go ahead, finish.
No, yeah, you're good.
Let me add this with the advent of the pill, and let's look at the generations. When it came out in 1960, the baby boomers were 14 years old, 14 to 16 years old. But their mothers from the silent generation were of childbearing age, and some were married, some weren't. But when the pill came out, now those women who were just young adults, they were able to get the first taste of sexual freedom, even though the pill was for regulating, your ovulation period and all that kind of stuff and your birth control. They started giving those pills, even if their kids weren't sexually active. When the teenage daughters became 16 and 18, women started putting their kids on the pill. Back then in the 60s. And even if they weren't having sex, it was a precaution because they knew what the pill was for. So I didn't have to worry about guarding it. But it also had this is my opinion, a converse effect. Well, because you're telling those girls, even though you might not be sexually active, if you were, you're protected. So what happens when you have some kind of protection you're not even using, but if you do, it's okay, right? So people started having I think people started having sex a little younger because there was no evidence because you weren't getting pregnant. And the older women who had choice, and let's just say, we're not talking about cheating, just the free women now can have more partners without worry. Now they might not have been worrying about the disease as much as they should have been.
Right.
But they didn't have to worry about the pregnancies. So your freedom now can be exercised a lot more because you ain't worrying about having a baby. So you can have more than a few partners. And that started to increase. Not to say that women weren't having multiple partners, but now you got extra protection in the form of a pill.
Yes.
And the men, men loved it, but this is all based on women because the men are still the same. We were still, cockhounds. And now with all of these freer women out there, shit, man, this is like glory days. So I think that's how it started. I think that's really how it started to become. And then those baby boomers grew up on the pill, and nobody really knew how the pill changed hormones and the way you behaved and all that shit. Those studies weren't out yet. you know, because the deleterious effects of the pill on the women, changed a lot of the way they thought when they got off of it and stuff like that. So there's a lot of implications of that. And that's probably a whole nother stream if you really want to get into it.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay, so
absolutely.
yeah, so go ahead. And then I have a song for you in 61 that's very germane. But when you can cue me in when you're ready.
Well, I
I'm
have
not
a
gonna
song
sing it. I'm not gonna sing it, but I would just I got the lyrics.
because I have a song example from 1961, so we might have the same song. We might be
Go
on the
ahead,
same.
let's see. Go ahead. Go ahead.
But before I get to the song,
Yeah, when you get to it.
in 1964, along with the miniskirt, the Wonder Bra hit the market. And so with the Wonder Bra, what that was, in 1964. And so the Wonder Bra, one of the things that made the Wonder Bra so wonderful is the fact that it had all this extra padding and cushioning at the bottom of the bra that the outside viewer did not know about or see, that made your breasts look bigger and pump them up into the bra, making them look bigger and look more voluptuous, that you were like spilling out of your bra and like your breasts look bigger. And so why would any woman need that if she's not advertising her breasts? And sure, like Bella keeps talking about, stuff is suitable for the bedroom, for your husband. And of course, your husband, but at the end of the day, your husband doesn't need you to see you in a push-up bra because he knows what really your boobs look like. So, this is to advertise to strangers, to make it look like you have something more going on than you do. And so this happened in the 1960s as well. Something else that happened in the 1960s that really cratered the American society, not just the Black community, but was Lincoln's Great Society program that is unleashed onto the world between 1964 and 1965. And so that had major implications on hoeing, because now you can hoe, and now you can have birth control, you can have oral contraception to stop from getting pregnant or to stop from giving birth. Or if you don't want to use that, you can have a baby and then throw out his dad and still get him a check from Uncle Sam. And so, the family unit just was completely getting attacked from all sides in the 1960s. And then closing out the 1960s, in 1969, Ronald Reagan, of all people, a conservative, allegedly, legalized no-fault divorce in California.
Right.
And so as a conservative, I grew up, kind of idolizing Ronald Reagan as, he was one of the last true conservatives. And, he was when America was really in its heyday. And this guy, legalized one of the most detrimental measures when it came to marriage that could ever be done. No-fault divorce was something that Stalin even didn't want to do in the Soviet Union. This is really bad. And so for a conservative champion like Ronald Reagan to did I say Lincoln? I meant to say Lyndon. Excuse me. Lyndon B. Johnson, not Lincoln Johnson. He issued the Great Society program. But yeah, for such a conservative champion as Ronald Reagan to issue in no-fault divorce, it's crazy. It has no place in a society that claims to care about marriage. And so don't talk to me about, what Obama did in, I think it was 2015, when, he legalized same-sex marriage. People want to say, oh, he killed marriage. He completely uprooted the definition of marriage. No, friend, you got to go back way further than that to 1969 when no-fault divorce is legalized, because that really uprooted marriage. And it already had one foot in the grave when that happened. And so, once again, this is just a logical and expected chain of events to happen. When you say that you can just throw away your marriage for no reason, then why not let the queers have marriage too? What does it mean anymore?
But Jenny, let me throw some light on this, because I think it was said or rumored that Nancy Reagan was a powerful feminist.
I
So
never knew that.
and he idolized her. So I could see her having a lot to do with pushing through a law like that.
Okay, you're teaching me something new.
Yeah. So I mean, you can look it up a little bit. I don't know if they called her a feminist per se, but she was powerful in the women's movement. She was a very powerful first lady.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Because I know that she was the one who did that "Just Say No" campaign.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. She looked like a feminist. So I could see her pillow talking him into pushing something like that.
Okay. And so, what was the song you were thinking of?
The song is by the Shirelles, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow?
Oh, okay. That's not what I was thinking of. So that's good.
Which, I can give you a couple of lyrics, right? It's real short, right? Tonight,
Hmm.
it's the song about a woman who is having an affair, a sexual encounter with a man, and she's worried if he would still love her tomorrow. And that's what
Okay.
the song is. You know how women worry about, are you going to still like me the way after I give it to you? You know what I'm saying? So tonight,
Okay.
you're mine completely. You give your love so sweetly. Tonight, the light of love is in your eyes. But will you still love me tomorrow? All right, then is this a lasting treasure or just a moment's pleasure? Can I believe the magic of your sighs? Will you still love me tomorrow? And so so this, so it's just about a woman worrying about, after we do the deed, are you going to still look at me the same way? And that whole song goes through that. So it's a
Yeah,
pretty, it was a controversial song in '61.
I
You know,
bet.
yeah, yeah. So I used that in one of my pieces on Monday about how the post nut clarity and stuff about women worrying about whether a man will still love her the next day. And this was pertinent. This was really right in that whole thing. So it's this song is a short song, but it's pretty good. I'm listening to it all like it's new. But I remember that song when I was a young guy in the '60s, and the controversy it caused. And especially in the old dresses they weren't provocatively dressed, but the lyrics was like right on the money. You
Yes.
know,
And so, did this song play on the radio, or is this something
yes,
you had?
yes,
Oh, okay.
yes,
Oh, wow. Okay. So,
yeah,
yeah, I can
yeah. I
see why
mean,
you would.
someone like for you, like said, tonight the words unspoken. You say that I'm the only one, but will your heart be broken? Well, will my heart be broken when the night meets the morning sun? You know what I'm saying? So this is all about her sexual encounter with a dude and how he's gonna view her the next morning. That's all it's about.
Yeah.
And you know what? The truth of the matter is, every single woman who has makes love to a guy she likes for the first time, that's exactly what she's worried about. Will this continue the day after I give it up? Are you gonna call me like you did before? Are you gonna give me that rose? Are you gonna check on me? Every single woman goes through that with a dude that they like. Every single one has to come to that particular point in a relationship. That first night. Is this dude just playing me? Or is he gonna actually, or does he actually like me? And when you do the deed, that's when you find out.
Yeah. Yeah. So, this is a really good example
Yeah.
of, especially since it played on the radio, the
Oh yeah, it
society.
was it was popular. It was one of the biggest hits.
It's just, a gradual change. Because the songs that I was talking about earlier, I don't know if you caught some of the crazy songs I was talking about
Yeah,
earlier.
I know. I was listening.
Those songs didn't play on the radio.
Yeah, this one was popular.
And
Yeah,
so, and we can see in real time now that it is the gradual change of things that are being allowed to be put in front of the mainstream, in front of the masses.
yeah,
Um, and so the song I was going to pull up is "Run Around Sue."
yeah, yeah.
Every time I listen to this song, it just cracks me up at these lyrics, because it's like a city girl anthem, from the back in the originals. Let's pull this
Yeah.
up. A guy who's been victimized by a city girl. Um,
I've been there. I've been there.
So yeah, it starts off and it says, my screen keeps jumping around.
It's all right. You get it.
Okay. Here's my story. It's sad but true. It's about a girl that I once knew. She took my love and then ran around with every single guy in town. Yeah, I should have known from the very start this girl would leave me with a broken heart. Now listen, people, what I'm telling you, keep away from Runaround Sue.
Yeah,
I might
I
miss her
remember that
lips
song.
and the smile on her face. Yeah, yeah, and I mean, this is a song because I've never heard that other song before, or at least not to my knowledge. Because you might hear something on a commercial or hear something in passing and not know what you're listening to. Um, but I've
Well,
heard this song a
look
ton.
this, listen to this, look that song up when you finish. The link. They even have like people put the a live performance on YouTube. It's a very short song, so it's there, so you can just click on. It was a good song. But go ahead, yeah, go ahead. So this is I remember Running Around Sue. All right. I remember, yeah, I'm old man. I heard this one on the radio. Keep away from a run around Sue. Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. I wasn't probably getting any
Yeah,
back then. I wasn't getting any. So I was too, if it was in the 60s, I wasn't getting a damn thing. I was just looking up like a doofus, man, but I was young. I was real young.
but yeah,
That's
it's so
funny.
crazy because the women of today, it's we're probably up to we're probably up to grandmothers now, being that this is in 61. So, the women of today, their grandmothers were some runaround Sues. And like EAE said earlier in the chat, he was like, I think he said that we all have some hoes in our lean, or like none of us would be here if it weren't for some hoes or something. Um, and yeah, and the thing about it is that because when a song is popular, it's not just the fact that it sounds good, like it's melodic, but it's also if people resonate with it. And so the fact that this song became uber popular and is still being heard to this day, it means that it's
Right.
a song that men relate with, and it's
Oh, yeah.
timeless. Like I know
That's right.
men to this day who can relate to relate to Dion and his feelings with his runaround Sue, and so profound because this song blew up in the 60s when it was created, and so men were like, yeah, man, I'm listening to this. No, they had their head on the jukebox listening to listening to the song, putting in another quarter, and their friends are trying to get them like, come on, man, forget about her. We'll go to the sock hop, we'll get you a better better girl. But he's like, man, I miss my runaround Sue. It's just so funny how the more things change, the more they stay the
What
same.
is this? Absolutely. Absolutely. There's no doubt about it. So I mean, if you had an active dating life, you probably had a run around Sue in the stable at one point. You liked her, but you couldn't tame her, you couldn't control her, and you just had to you just had to wait your turn on the rotation wheel. So I think a lot of guys could relate to that.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so now we are jumping up into the 1970s. And in the 1970s, this is when tattoos on women becomes popular. Because now, before this time, it's not even just that it's not even just that tattoos were seen as shameful on women, but even a lot of men didn't have tattoos before the 60s. And so now that we're in the 70s, tattoos became a sign of sexual liberation, sexual freedom, rebelling against the patriarchy. And so something that was once a symbol of being in the Navy, being in the military, being some rough and tumble man, now we have like little dainty women that are getting tattoos and whatnot on themselves. And today, a lot of women have tattoos. And now being that I live in Virginia, Richmond, Virginia is one of the most, it's like rates in like the top 10 of like most heavily tattooed places in America. Like, I
Wow.
mean, people, they have tattoos all over the place up there. And it's so funny because when I met my husband, he had a pretty I wouldn't use the word strict, but he had a very structured upbringing,
Hmm.
especially from his grandparents' side, because they're Jehovah's Witnesses. And so
Okay.
Jehovah's Witnesses, they don't believe in tattoos. And so he never had one. And so he doesn't have one, still to this day. And I thought to myself when he first told me that, like, I don't know any black men that don't have a tattoo. And I
Hmm.
really tried to think about that when he told me that. And I just thought that was so crazy. Like, all three of my brothers have a tattoo. Now, my dad, he doesn't have a tattoo, but he has a brand, which isn't any better.
No.
um, his fraternity from college, they branded him like he was an
Is
Oscar.
it cute?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I have a brand too. So
Oh, do you?
yes, yes. I had to.
um,
I banned it, by the way, on for guys just going over. I said you can't get a tattoo. I mean a brand until a year after they went over. Because
oh.
when we crossed, we were crazy as hell. We would have did anything they told us. So we all got brands that first night. Said, listen, man, we got to stop. So no brands until a year after. So if your head's clear and you still want one, cool. But you know,
Interesting.
yeah, that was just one of the edicts I put in. That wasn't the fraternity. That was just me. I was a bossilus. But anyway, that's another story. So your
Okay.
dad's a Q. No wonder no wonder you asked me to come up here. So he's no man.
Yes, I can just tell that you come from good stock. And then you're bald too, just like my dad. So you guys would probably get along.
You're making me feel old. That's all right.
So,
That's where I'm at. That's the game. You want to get old.
well, you're young compared to my dad because my dad is 85.
Wow. Wow.
Yes.
So he was fooling around. Well, he had you like 60 years old or something like that. 60,
Yeah.
yeah, 60. Wow. Yeah,
Yeah,
my God, woof.
he
That's
was
good.
60 and my mom was 30.
Okay. Oh, they be writing about him now. They still married?
No, they're not. But
Okay.
I was just telling I was just leaving a comment on Bella's page. She posted this funny meme about a what is it? A 35-year-old guy, I think it was, and a 28-year-old girl. And they were like, we both consent. And then some 38-year-old woman, she was all big and fat. She was like, well, I don't consent because she's still a baby and you shouldn't be with her. And I looked at the comment and I was like, my parents are 30 years apart. So age never meant anything to me in my relationship.
That's wild. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, well, I hear you. So let me get you back on track. So that's something.
yeah.
so so
So
I never thought tattoos look good on black darker skinned people. I never really thought they did. If you were lighter skinned, then the colors and everything would come out a little bit better. I wasn't into the tattoo kind of thing, but yeah, just a lot of black men are tattooed.
Oh, so that's what discouraged you from getting one?
No, I never even thought about it. I
Okay.
never it never even crossed my never even crossed my mind to get a tattoo. I mean, a lot of the men in my family, I can't remember. None of us were heavily tattooed. None of us, even the younger guys. They might
Okay.
have a few tattoos now, but not that we had anything against it. It's just I always thought tattoos was a white man's thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, yeah, that's what I always thought. Yeah, so the NBA guys are the ones who really made me think, start to see a lot more brothers tattooed because I used to watch a lot of NBA. Before that, I didn't really recognize a lot of tattoos on black men.
Oh, okay.
I
And
mean
so
that's not to say that it wasn't there. It just wasn't in the front of my psyche until I
mhm,
started seeing like guys like Allen Iverson and some of the other brothers started getting all heavily tatted up.
mhm.
You know, so
Interesting. Yeah. And so now, I mean, it's like, you're looking for a needle in a haystack trying to find a black guy without any tattoos.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and so, because like even now, I'm still thinking like I don't. And then I mean, just most young men in general, like they have at least one tattoo.
right,
Um, and then a lot of women have tattoos, but I do know some women who don't have any tattoos. But I don't know any black guys who don't have at least one.
okay.
So
No, I mean I hear you. I'm not trying to say it's not like that now, but of course I'm not paying attention. But I think it's worse with women having all tatted up. Not that they say they shouldn't. There has to be a place for me where you could cover it up. Especially, when they started doing the neck and all that stuff. I said,
oh yeah,
now I can't take you nowhere.
yeah.
We can't hang out. I mean, we can hang out to a regular restaurant, but I can't take you to a boss's meeting or some shit like that, a formal affair. Your neck is all tattooed up, and you can't cover it up unless you're wearing a turtleneck all the time. You know, your sleeve, your arms are out, and it's all tatted up. You got, your middle finger pointed up with a rose around it or some shit. Man, come on. You know,
Yeah, it looks trashy.
say what?
It looks trashy.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
But hey,
shout out to Lost in Translation. Let's give him a round of applause for not having any tattoos and
yeah,
not
yeah.
marking up his body.
He doesn't see. He does. When I saw his name, I was, I said, I bet you Lost doesn't have a tattoo. Yeah, he don't seem like a guy that's going to get tatted up.
Now,
Yeah.
I would have assumed. I would have assumed that he had something, his mom's name or some kind of, symbol on his shoulder or something. Because I mean, it's just so prevalent.
He got Lost in Translation across his chest and shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh
Oh my
man, that's
gosh.
funny.
So yeah, kudos to him. But yeah, and so someone you said something that I kind of wanted to piggyback off of as well. Um, but
What
yeah,
about
it just hmm?
about the women going out or?
About women with tattoos and how like, you can't take them certain places. Oh, I was gonna say that and another thing with tattoos is that children, they're so impressionable, and I remember this so vividly. When I was in elementary school, there was this. I don't remember the kid, but I remember the mom. And this kid in my class, his mom would come to school and bring him things. I bring him his lunch or bring him supplies or whatever he needed. And she had paw print tattoos on her breasts.
Wow.
And she would wear shirts that would make it seem sometimes. And I remember seeing that and I thought that was so cool. And
Yeah.
I was like, when I get older, I want to have a tattoo right here too. I want to have paw prints on my breast. And it's like, what? I mean, I'm surprised they didn't make her wear, a shirt to cover it up. But I mean, I guess like she's like, well, I'm already here to give my son his lunch and I'll be gone. I'm not going to be here that long anyway. But like, I remember that. And and she was fair skinned too. So I thought, oh, she looks so cool, because I'm just thinking like, it's like dog prints, I guess there's bear prints. But I'm just thinking those cute little animal prints and oh, that's so fun. And it's like, no, like that's not ladylike. That's not classy.
I tell you have BMU put up that he's sexy with his tattoos. Yeah, okay. You talk about two words that have nothing to do with each other and shit. BMU and sexy.
Shit. She's about to come up here and get on you.
Oh my God. Anyway.
and so moving on from the tattoos being popularized on women in the 70s, in 1973, as I'm sure most of us are familiar with, women get the federal protection to murder their unborn children in the womb, known as Roe versus Wade. And so that ramped up hoism into hyperdrive because now it doesn't even matter if I get pregnant. If I'm taking my pill and I accidentally slip up and I forget a day or, whatever, and I get pregnant, oh no, what am I going to do? Then it's now you can just kill it before it's ever born. And so that happened in 1973. And then in 1979, we get the song Hot Stuff from Donna Summer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Let's see here.
I'm surprised you didn't put Love to Love You Baby up there, but
Is that one of her songs?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm not familiar with that one.
It's around the same time, Donna Summer's era. It's Donna Summer era. She had a couple of nice racy songs, but this is a good one too.
Okay. And so it starts off here, sitting here, eating my heart out, waiting for some lover to call. Dialed about 1,000 numbers lately. Almost rang the phone off the wall. Looking for some hot stuff, baby, this evening. I need some hot stuff, baby, tonight. I want some hot stuff, baby, this evening. Gotta have some hot stuff. Gotta have some love tonight. And so it goes on to another verse. It says, looking for a lover who needs another. Don't want another night on my own. Want to share my love with a warm-blooded lover. Want to bring a wild man back home. And so now you can give us some more firsthand accounts, but do you remember this like being a popular song, like on the radio? People,
Donna Summers was one of the hottest ladies of that era.
oh
All her
wow.
songs, a lot of her songs were racy, and they were upbeat, and the beat will catch you, and the words will catch you, and you had to listen. She had a lot of, she had a double album. I think this was on it, and I'm just trying to think of some of the. She just had a lot of music that would kind of rival this one. Like "Love to Love You, Baby" was the one that put her on the map, right? And it was like real sexy. Ooh, love to love you, baby. And then there's, when
Oh,
you're laying, yeah, it was cool. When
oh,
you're laying so close to me, there's no place I'd rather be. you know, with you, with me, that kind of stuff. It just is, ooh, love to love you, babe. And then it went through all kind of transitions and had all that sexy movement. Then she gets to a point where she's moaning. Yeah, it was, yeah,
oh
love to
wow.
love you. Oh yeah. Oh boy. If you haven't heard that one, you need to play it. But you have to have parental supervision so you don't get in trouble. So, you know what I'm saying? That song was hot. I'm telling you. That was a hot song, man. Donna Summer was hot. She was.
Well, now
And
that you're singing the chorus for me, I've heard that song, but I've heard it sampled. I didn't know that was her song. I didn't know what the original was, but I have heard that "Love to Love You, Baby." I've heard that sampled in another song before.
oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so I'm like,
That was
oh, okay,
that was
because
good jam.
I think like all the time that like songs are original or that it's just a sound bite that they created. The whole time it's like completely ripped
Oh
from a
yeah.
whole nother song.
Yo,
But
they sample a lot of that old music. Yeah, yeah,
yeah, so yeah, I need to go back and listen to it,
yeah.
and get the full
Mhm.
picture. Oh, and speaking of Donna Summer, her song, what is that song? Um, what that song where she's like that girl, um, what is that song name? Where she's like that. Oh, she works hard for her money. Is that
Yeah.
song about prostitution?
Is that Donna Summer?
Mm-hmm. She
Yeah, I
it,
think so. Yeah,
she works hard for the money.
I don't know if that's the title, but yeah, I think that's a song about price. I can't remember all of that.
Okay.
You
Okay,
was
Roller
hard for
Skater.
the money, but you better treat her right.
Yeah. Okay, chat, let me know. We got one
Hard
yes.
for the
Roller Skater
money,
Texas Girl says yes, that song is about
so
prostitution.
hard for you, honey. Yeah,
No, it's
so
not. Okay, we
hard
got one yes and one no.
yeah, yeah. So yeah, she had. Let me tell you, Donna's song itinerary was all racy. She had some great songs too. That were like love ballads, but she had a lot of racy songs.
Yeah, from what I'm hearing, it sounds like it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll let y'all. Oh, okay, there's a video with it. Well, I mean, if it was, I mean, she might have done a video, but she couldn't have actually portrayed that in the video, I'm imagining. But
Hmm.
we got another yes. Catalea says she works hard for the money is a song about by American singer Donna Summer and a title track. Okay, she's giving us some stats about the song. Yes, there was a video about it. Okay. Was the video by Donna Summer or was it like an expose or okay? Because that's what I thought when I heard the song. Because I was familiar with Hot Stuff, and I thought, I mean, it just seemed random, like to write a song about just working hard. Like not like 9 to 5 by Dolly Parton. That song's about just working hard in general. But that was for a movie. But for Donna Summer, just to make a song about working hard, I'm like, it probably has some subliminal messaging. Like she's probably talking about sex work. Um, so I wanted to know if you knew about that. But moving forward, out of the
Yeah, yeah,
70s.
she had one more. She had one called Bad Girls. Bad
Well,
Girls. Talking about bad girls. Yeah. Yeah. So she had that was on the same album. So she had a couple of good ones. Anyway, go ahead.
okay, interesting. Um, and so going into the 80s, the song Material Girl by Madonna is released. And so this song is obviously about how to get as much money as you can out of a man and materialism, leaning on from the same um, oh, the same themes as How to Marry a Millionaire from the 1950s. And so some of the lyrics from this are, some boys kiss me, some boys hug me. I think they're okay. If they don't give me proper credit, I just walk away. They can beg and they can plead, but they can't see the light. That's right. Because the boy with the cold, hard cash is always Mr. Right. Because we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. You know that we are living in a material world, and I am a material girl. Some boys romance, some boys slow dance. That's all right with me. If they can't raise my interest, then I have to let them be. Some boys try and some boys lie, but I don't let them play. No way. Only boys that save their pennies make my rainy day. And so, yes, this is a song. What did Black Man say? Wait, was R-Pain trying to sing her sounded like a wounded animal? Don't let him talk about you like that, R-Pain.
That's all right. He tried to get me back. Yeah, but I was sounding kind of like a guy in a trap. So what can you say? My ankle was caught in the trap. So, so I had to kind of belt out a sour tube. So I didn't say I could sing, but anyway. Yeah. So Madonna was hot. Me and Madonna, she's the same age as I am. So she's around 65 now. Because I was in college when she was really hot. So her songs were playing all over the place, so.
Right. Now this is something I of course I don't remember, but I did know that, Madonna was like the hottest thing out in the 80s. And this was one of her most popular songs. And so, moving, inching closer to modern day, a song about materialism, about just taking guys for their money, about just seeing how much you can squeeze out of a guy and going about your day. This is a really popular song. This was an idea that was put in front of the masses. And the thing is that entertainment is not just entertainment. It is.
Okay, I'm sorry.
According to Billboard, on July 27th.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
You're fine. It is programming. It is conditioning. And so when you hear these things, when these things get put in front of you, this is not coincidental. This is not accidental. This is intentional. They want these ideas to be put in front of you. They're trying to put these messages in front of you, to put these ideas into you. And so they want to put these ideas of, women just taking advantage of men and grabbing the money and running. That's the kind of ideas that they want women to have of men, and that's how they want to see men. They want to see men as pocketbooks. They want to see men as wallets, and which is why. Now there was a song I've heard of, I've never fully listened to, and I don't know all the lyrics, but I'm sure R-Pain, you're familiar with it. But apparently there's a song called "Ain't Nothing Going On But the Rent."
Yeah.
Was that in the 80s or was that a little bit earlier?
No, I think that's the same time. We gotta look it up, but yeah, you gotta have a job. I'll look at the year.
Yeah, and so because the thing is that so many women see men as simply for money, that now that we live in an era, in a day and age where women, they don't make as much as men do. I learned that on Tuesday. But now that we live in an era where women can make a comfortable amount of money where they can kind of support themselves, now they're like, well, I don't need a man because I can make my own money, as if that's the only thing that men are good for, is to make money. And so, but of course they think that, because this is what they've been hearing for the past 40 years, is that men are just wallets and just take what you can from them and just get a move on. And so while he's looking that up, I'll look up my other song for the 80s.
I think it was 86. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something like that. It was in the 80s.
Okay. And so here we have
The artist was Gwen Guthrie. Gwen Guthrie.
Wayne Guthrie.
Gwen
Oh, Gwen
Guthrie.
Guthrie.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And so our other song for the 80s is Saving All My Love for You, which sounds exactly like that song that you mentioned earlier, Arpain.
Okay.
That song that, what was it called? By the Suzettes or something?
Yeah, by the Shirelles. Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow?
Yeah, Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow? That song sounds just like this song. And that song was like 15 years earlier than this song.
Okay.
And so the lyrics for here are, a few stolen moments is all that we share. You've got your family and they need you there. Though I've tried to resist being last on your list, but no other man's gonna do. So I'm saving all my love for you. It's not easy living all alone. My friends try and tell me, find a man of your own. But each time I try, I just break down and cry because I'd rather be home feeling blue. So I'm saving all my love for you.
This is the ode to the side chick.
Yes, the side chick national anthem. And because when Whitney Houston died back in 2012, people were listening to a lot of her music, and I really liked Whitney Houston. I think that the way that she sang the national anthem at the Super Bowl, and I think it was 1981, that is the way that God intended for the national anthem to be sung. It was just perfect. The band that was behind her, the drums and the horns, and it was just it was perfect. College classes need to be created around how great of a singing of the national anthem that was. And so I've always been a big fan of Whitney Houston. And so, but as I got older, I listened to lyrics because I don't want to just put anything in my mind. When you put things into your mind, they stick with you. And I actually started to hear the lyrics of the song. I was like, I don't want to listen to this. This is trash. This is not the kind of stuff that is good. And especially now that I'm married, Whitney and I would have had beef because I'm like, you better stay away from my husband. Talking about a few stolen moments is all that we share. Like, girl, please. It's just like a single woman that would write a song like this and think that, she's getting somebody's sympathy and like, oh, I'm lonely and I know that you already have a wife and a family, but I just can't find another man. Like, you better find another man. Like, that one is already spoken for. Like, how dare you? And I think that because this was her debut album, and I think this was the song that she got her first Grammy for, if I'm not mistaken.
No, I don't know that. But, I don't know. But still, listen, so this is just telling you, like you said, there's nothing new under the sun. There's always been side chicks. There's been dudes who had two families in the same neighborhoods. I knew a few guys like that. And there's all kinds of things going on that people act like it's something new today. But yeah. So I don't know if this was what exact year this was, but she had plenty of songs. I wouldn't define her by this one, but yeah, this is the ode to the side chick. Yep, exactly. Oh, by then, but side chicks back then weren't like the side chicks of today. The side chicks were different.
Yeah, I think they're probably a little bit more discreet than they are now.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because
I think that's what stopped Michael. I think that's why Michael Jordan's wife divorced him. The side chick called up his wife.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, I think that's the rumor I heard. Yeah. She called his wife up, and and I think that's one of those kind of things with those powerful men. Said, listen, if you're gonna have another woman, don't let her call me. Don't give me no diseases, and just be discreet. I think it's the embarrassment that breaks those people up. But they know their guys are gonna be fooling around.
Okay, so stop the presses because Beak is he's blaspheming the name of Whitney Houston, and he is saying that she lip synced that national anthem song. Now you guys have been teaching me stuff all night and informing me of things, but I'm like, there is no way that's possible. Now I know, like, she had her issues with drugs, and so maybe she wasn't all there at that time, but there's no way that's lip synced. What? Come on now, Beak. You gotta drop a link for something, because I mean I can't believe that. Now you're basically telling me that Santa Claus isn't real. I mean, you're breaking my heart right now.
Nah, don't fall down that well. You
Oh
could
my
believe
God.
she sang it like she sang it. It no matter what, it still was her voice. It was her.
Okay, yeah, that's the right attitude to have. It was still her at the end of the day. I mean, man, I can't even. That is something that I don't even want to think about that possibly being true. I mean,
Believe me,
so
if it was true, it would have been out already.
yeah. So how dare you be tarnish that woman's name? But no, I don't know that. I mean, if that is true, then that, I mean, I'm really surprised at that. Um, but okay, and so now jumping into the 90s, we have at the very beginning of the 90s, so right at the beginning of the decade, we have Pretty Woman, the movie with Julia Roberts. And so I remember seeing this movie all the time on Oxygen. It's it's a channel. I don't know if it's even still around.
I don't think so.
Okay. Because yeah, I know, like, certain channels they come and go. But I remember like Oxygen being on all the time when I was a kid, because they had what is it? America's Next Top Model would come on would come on all the time on that channel. But yeah, I remember seeing this movie come on a lot over there. And so, as we're all, I'm sure aware, and if you couldn't deduce by the thumbnail or by the poster, is that this is a movie about this rich man who falls in love with a prostitute, a literal streetwalker, and he meets her and they develop a relationship. And I don't remember, do they end up getting married? I don't know if they end up getting married.
I don't know if they got married. I
Yeah,
don't think they
but
got married.
they ended up, like falling in love with each other, and so what it is supposed to be it's supposed to be a Cinderella story, but apparently the regular Cinderella story wasn't good enough, and so they had to turn her into a literal prostitute. And this is supposed to be glorified. This is supposed to be idolized as, oh, isn't this movie so cute? Oh, isn't this so fun? This movie where, this woman is being praised for being lifted up out of her situation and being rescued by this rich guy. And so once again, this is a movie that props up the idea that men are wallets, and that the best thing that a man can offer you is money, because that's why she likes him. I mean, he's also a very nice character in the movie. But that's obviously the main appeal, is that he's a really rich guy, and that he just completely transforms her standard of living and brings her up to his level. And no longer she doesn't have to turn tricks, and now she can be a housewife. And isn't it so great? Isn't it so cute? And it's and it's glorifying whoredom. And so
it's a redemption story, and it's the first story that poisoned all the women say you could be as hoe as you can, but there'll be a good man that's going to come, forget all of your sins, and fall in love with you, and take you away from that kind of life. And so go ahead and stroke away, honey, because there's a man for you out there, man, and he's going to be rich. That's why they're asking for $800,000 a year, man. You could be as rich as you want, but somebody's going to save you. And it was not. She wasn't just a regular. She wasn't a call girl or escort. She was a streetwalker.
Yes.
She was the lowest of the lowest kind of. She was a streetwalker. So he took her from all the way down there, and he fell in love with her. But men do that. Hey, listen, the basketball players are doing the same thing. They're loving up hoes, giving them babies. They know.
You should have given him The Price Is Wrong for that one.
They loving them up right in front of our eyes.
Yeah.
Hey, it's going on right in front of my eyes. Pretty Woman's having it every day.
Literally.
That's exactly right.
Like Zion Williamson, literally
Yeah.
out
Oh,
here
yeah.
impregnating an actual, what was she, a prawn star?
Well, yeah. Both of the women after one he married. I think he married the one that had a baby. She was 30, he's 21. I think he's marrying her. And she was
Zion
a
Williamson,
porn star. Yeah. He's
he's
got one
married.
that's having, I think he had a baby with one because
Hmm.
she was pregnant with his kid. And then the porn star, the other porn star, came after him because he tried to move him into the same town.
Oh
You know,
my,
they got the text messages saying, listen, if you come over here, I'll pay you this much money per month. And that the real porn star is so mad at him that she's outing him and they had to ban her from Twitter.
oh yes,
Yeah. And so he's as ratchet as they come. So he
yeah.
got two pretty women, you know. He's marrying one, and she's like, oh, she's just looking at him, oh, you big dummy. I can't wait to leave your ass, man. You know what I'm saying? So you
You
guys are
big
idiots.
dummy.
You
Yes,
guys are just idiots, man.
yes.
Anyway,
As Coach Adams says, he is in love while she is in business.
oh yeah, oh yeah. We'll do it on the sounds. Anyway, but yeah, that's true. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. Did you want to chime in on this, Lost? I don't know if he's.
Oh, he's
No, he's back.
back there somewhere.
Yeah, he's back there. He must be getting situated. Um, but
But this is, I mean, actually, it was a good movie. But really, the story behind it, is questionable.
yeah.
Yeah, it's questionable.
Oh, okay. He said he's good. But so yeah, they're selling the dream. Here. Oh no, his voice is shot. But yeah, they're telling these women that it's okay, your past doesn't matter, because a real man, the man that you really want at the end of the day, he'll sweep you off your feet and he'll still take you and pick you up, and it'll be like nothing ever happened. Because the guy in the movie, I think his name was Richard in the movie.
Yeah,
Um,
don't
he
remind me.
Yeah, he's unfazed because I think he's a John at first. I think that's how they meet, is that he's a John.
Yeah, he's a John.
And so, telling these girls that, the guy that you end up with, he'll probably be one of your OnlyFans donors, and then, he'll meet you, and then he'll want to marry you, and then it's okay, and you can stop selling your body online, and then you'll get married, and then you'll be in a big house, and it's all great. Don't worry. And it's just not real. It's just not how things work out in reality. But once again, more programming, more conditioning in the minds of young people. And so this is in 91. So this is, directed to like our moms, depending on how young you are, or your sisters. And so that happened in 1990. And in 1995, Pamela Anderson's sex tape is leaked. And so now you would think that, in America, a person has a sex tape released, that's going to be the end of their career. But, it wasn't. And so we'll talk about how Pamela walked so that Kim Kardashian could run. And so that happened. So that happened in 1995. And then in 1996, another wonderful song was released. INVELE. Okay, let me see if I can. So yeah, this song, "Put It in Your Mouth." Now, do you know this? I don't know how to pronounce this person. Akinyi? Aquino. Are you
We
familiar with
can
this
just blame
artist?
it on Ekene. We could blame it on Ekene, the African brother who comes up here all the time. So this is his son. No, I don't know who this is.
Okay. But yeah, and so now I've clips from this song before, dozens of times, especially, there's sound bites of it on TikTok. But so yeah, the lyrics to this, wonderful piece of history are my baby left me sad and blue. I don't know what to do without my baby, baby, baby. And then I met his best friend and he took me to his house and I said, what you said, baby. Here, let me tell you what I said. And the chorus is, put it in my mouth. She said, put it in her mouth. I said, my mother effing mouth. I mean her mother effing mouth. Put it in my mouth. She said in her mouth. And then it continues to go on. And so, yeah.
No.
Okay, so I guess the pronunciation is Aconelli. Aconelli. Okay. We're doing reading with Mrs. Jenny. So EA said I want this played at my funeral. You need to control yourself, EAE. But yes, so this song was unleashed into the unsuspecting public in just 1996, and so is it any surprise that with songs like this and as explicit as this is, that songs later came down the line of FNF, F nigga free by Glorilla came out. And so now we have made it all the way up to the 2000s. And in 2001, the Bratz dolls are invented. Now, I know you said you have daughters, Arpain, but I don't know if they were young enough to be interested in the Bratz dolls. But these are the Bratz dolls. And
no,
so
actually, they weren't into that. They weren't into these. My oldest was born in somewhere. I forgot when she was born anyway. But no, they were into these. They weren't into these. She was a millennial. She wasn't into it. And the Gen Z wasn't into these either. Okay. They weren't into these. Yeah. So I was glad about that. It's not like I did anything to keep them away. They just never really showed interest.
Yeah. Thank goodness. Okay. Yeah, they might have been a little bit too early for them. Like, because I was born 98 and these came out in 01. And so these are like prime, like smack dab directed towards my age group.
Yeah, because my oldest was in 92 and the youngest was in 99. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, so I'm surprised that you're 99. She didn't like Bratz dolls. Mm-hmm. But everybody, all the girls that I knew, they all had Bratz dolls, and like it didn't fully replace Barbies because I still had Barbies and I still loved Barbies, but this was definitely the toy to have. And I had a friend, and she lived up the street from me, and her parents, like, they both were, like, in the military, so they were really well off, and she had these dolls look just like the women we see today. Yeah, this was conditioning. And so now the women who are 20 years later grew up on these dolls. They dress just like this. They want to look just like this. They want to look like their little whore dolls that they grew up playing with their mini skirts and their crop tops and their big stilettos and their crazy drag queen looking makeup. Yes. Yeah. And so this girl that lived up the street from me, they had Bratz cars, and they had male Bratz dolls, and they had different outfits and houses. And I would go over there and I would just love to use her stuff. And they had like this fashion show truck that they made, and I borrow that from her sometimes. And I would just play with that thing all day and just have different fashion shows and have the video so separately.
So did they have a cartoon as well? I think did they have a cartoon as well?
Yes, they did.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they had movies, and I don't think it was ever like a show, but they had like straight to DVD movies that they did. Okay. And I remember, being a kid and going to Blockbuster, and my when I would go visit my mom, like my brothers and I, when we go visit our mom, she would take us to Blockbuster and we could rent, so many DVDs. And I would always get, the latest Bratz movie and see what the Bratz were up to. And it was just, man, like these were so big. Like, this is where we're getting into stuff that I personally remember. And I remember like these dolls were everywhere. Like they were, and then they had, they had, where there was just the collarbone and the head, or you could do their hair. And it was all over the place. Like you couldn't. I mean, I'm surprised that you managed to get out unscathed without having any Bratz dolls in your house.
Yeah, no. My oldest, all she did was read. She read a lot of Harry Potter. She had a Pokemon was more of the stuff she was into.
Oh, okay.
And then Harry Potter books. And just school. It wasn't even like I was so limiting. They just gravitated toward the thing they liked, So my other daughter was more SpongeBob SquarePants.
Okay, yes.
And Shrek.
Okay.
Which was cool.
Yes, that is cool. That they kind of had a bit of their own originality and their own personality.
Mm.
And so Bratz dolls were released in 2001, but this song was released in 2001, which EAE, of course, he remembers, which is My Neck, My Back, another hood classic. And so, I mean, I can't even get into it. But as you can see, they're on your screen, folks, leaving absolutely nothing to the imagination. And so this person, Kia, I don't know what she's up to these days. But she is crowned. Just humming.
Just humming.
Oh my goodness. She's credited as being a trailblazer for these women today, and they love her. They lift her up. Her and the one Kellis, the one who made that milkshake song.
Yeah.
She's not on my list, but she was somewhere in the early 2000s, maybe 2004. But yeah. And so, this was right up there. And so it just gets, and I can't even say that it just gets even more raunchy, because I mean, this is right on par with Shave 'Em Dry that we talked about in the 1930s. That song from earlier. And so, yeah, I mean, just the whole point of this is that there is nothing new under the sun.
Right.
This is not, she's the MLK for the real pros. Yes.
So you're right. So if you just look at how you went through this, what you call chronology, I would imagine you had the sexual revolution from the 60s, the pill in the 60s, sexual revolution from the 60s to the 80s. It really didn't stop. It just became part of our society. Right.
Yeah.
The things that slowed it down was the advent of AIDS and things of that nature, which was a consequence of everybody just stroking each other. Then free love, the rise of the homosexual, in the mainstream, and so all those things. So all the things we're seeing now is still piggybacking off the big slingshot of what happened way back in the 60s in this revolution and the pill, because again, you could have sex without consequence. And it's mainly women. I did a show on BMU's channel about women control the sexual marketplace. And a lot of people take that as blaming it on them. It's about the power to change. I mean, women control the marketplace because men are just pawns in this thing. Not that we're innocent pawns, because men take advantage of what's there. When women are more chaste, men have to come a lot more correct. When women are loose, men don't have to worry about that, right? So because women want sex as much as they do, so the more promiscuity there is, the better it is for men. The feminists never really slid that in there when they were telling women that having sex with a whole bunch of men was empowering. They didn't say it was empowering for you and it was very enjoyable for the men.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And, the thing about men, so when it comes time to, marry a woman, we actually hold that against you. We
Right.
actually, we're hypocrites, right? We create all of these hoes, but when it's time for them to settle down, we say, you know what, you was in the pool, so no, I don't
Right.
want. But kind of, because men still marry women who've been around, so uh, that's where we take more. We don't get enough credit. Men really don't levy virginity on women. Not Western men. We don't really care about that.
Yeah, and I've
Not
heard it
anymore.
said, yeah, not anymore as
Yeah,
much.
not anymore.
And I've heard it said is that men, it's not that men necessarily don't like hoes, but they don't like hoe tendencies. And so
That's
if a
part of
woman
it.
used to be a hoe, then if she was quiet about it, and if there's not a lot of documentation of what she did, and she's not proud of it, she's not still like reliving the glory days and saying how much fun she had, then oftentimes, he won't even bat an eye to it because he only knows what you've told him. And so, if you don't have all these bastard children that he has to take care of, if you don't have any STDs, if there's no videos of you getting your back blown out, then sure, because he knows at the end of the day that he's not perfect either. And so he'll be much more willing to take you on, if you're really like, I've changed, I'm not like that anymore. That was just a phase that I went through. I don't even know what I was doing back then.
Yeah,
Um,
you're correct. You're correct. There's only one thing. That kind of man is really not asking you about that at all either. He's
right.
not really asking you. I mean, he's gonna the kind of man who will accept that kind of woman. He's really not asking about her past. He might already know a little bit of it, and he's telling you get a pass. I don't need to know all the exploits that you did. Let's just move on from here. If a guy is asking you all those questions, he's too insecure to marry a woman who's been that free.
Okay, that's interesting.
That's just my opinion. I mean, why would you even want to know?
Right.
Yeah, I had this guy, he had me from the chandeliers and all this shit. I don't need to know that. I mean, just you know what? If it's in the past, the real thing is we need to know if a woman could bond to us.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever you did in the past, do you still have enough of you left that you could bond to one man?
Right.
And that's the thing that's in danger. That's one. Two, the other thing is, like you said about her being discreet. Can I bring you around the men I admire and the men who I want respect from? And a lot of men, they try to argue about this, but every man wants the respect of his peers.
Yes.
If all your peers, had your woman on her knees, they're not going to respect you even if they smile at you.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. So if they don't, if you weren't stroking in my circles, and the chances of me meeting somebody who had you from the chandelier is real low. We don't get enough credit as men when women call us insecure. That's really a lie, because men in the West, we know our women ain't virgins. It don't take 100 men to bust a chick down. One good guy could have been knocking it out, 1,000 times. So if you can handle that, so if you can handle that, you are a man, my son. That's what I say.
Okay.
The world according to Rich Payne. So
It's good. It's good insight. And then so also in the 2000s, so in March of 2017, Kim K's sex tape is released. Now up until recently, we thought, oh, it was leaked. Ray J leaked it, or she didn't want that. But due to the truth, the truth always makes its way out. We found that not only did she know it was going to be released, but they planned on it and they curated it and they had it all planned out. They knew exactly what they wanted to do and how it was going to be released. And so that happens in March of 2007. In May of 2007, Pornhub is launched.
Oh yeah.
And the world is forever. Simps can unite all around the world. And then in October of 2007. Keeping Up with the Kardashians is released. And so this is a extremely pivotal point in American society, because the fact that a woman who had a TV show in the works had a sex tape released that was extremely popular and she did not get her show canceled was humongous. And it really opened the floodgates. I guess, this whole thing we've been talking about, the floodgates being opened. but it really said something about mainstream and professionalism. Because this woman's supposed to be an actress, and she wants to be taken seriously. She wants to be famous, all over. And we saw her having sex, and it's like, and her show did not get canceled, and she just kind of just continued to just be famous, and everybody just liked her, but yet everybody still knew, like, this was not a little known thing. That was just like a footnote in her career. You're like, this was a big deal, and yet it did not deter her or slow her down in any regard. And so
that said more about society than it said about her.
Yeah, how far we had come.
Yeah, it said more about society. But let's not skip over the Pornhub thing. Just real quick. When that came out, Pornhub, whatever you want to call it, I wonder if there's any statistics that are out there that show that, SA went down because men had free access to all the visuals they wanted. There's always some people talk about, if men have a way to release, even if it's self-release, it's better it lessens the crime of assault because they have that release. I wonder if there's any correlation with that. I'm sure there's people who do studies, because there's got to be a reason why Pornhub went so unfettered in society and not tried to be censored. In certain states, they limited what they could show, but to me, Pornhub is like a government plan of trying to get statistics on the sexual mores of the people in the United States and around the world, because it just came out of nowhere, and boom, they got so much data on people and their sexual habits. It's incredible, because they put out a report every year, who's watching, what they're watching, what kind of stuff they're watching, and of course, everybody's IP address is stored somewhere. Who's watching, you know what I'm saying? So it's incredible. But going to the Kardashians, that one tape they made them a whole family rich.
Yes.
And people readily paid their money. I mean, a couple of billionaires out of the family and all that stuff. So it just tells you where society's at. That genie's out of the bottle, because nobody else's sex tape has made them that famous.
Yeah, you're
nobody
right.
else, nobody, black, white, or indifferent. It's just, you have a sex tape, okay, yeah, it wasn't even that exciting. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know what to say. There's no way to put the genie back in that particular bottle.
No, you're absolutely right. So it's just the way that society was progressing, and it does say a lot more about society than her as an individual, because people do what you allow them to do, and so people take the liberties that they think that they can take, and if they can't, then they get smacked down and they don't do it again, and if they can, then they just continue to move forward. And so she tested the waters, and she was able to get away with it.
Well, and the significant part is that she's a woman. See, a lot of times, women, don't realize the kind of power they have. A man would never be that successful by just doing a sex tape.
Mm-hmm.
Forget it. Ray J is like an afterthought. Hey, Ray J, you a second. Hey, stunt double, come in here and, pop that thing and shit, then get out of the way, So she becomes famous, and he's an afterthought in the thing, talking about I hit it first and all that kind of stuff. Come on, Ray J, just calm down, man. Shoot.
Yeah.
You had your night in the sun. Now you probably couldn't even look at him now. So it's crazy.
Yeah. Now I think that Ray J, if I'm not mistaken, I think he's married, or he might be about to get a divorce.
I think they're fighting over. He actually became successful in his own technical company. He did a couple things. He wasn't like broke. I think they're getting a divorce. I think they're fighting over the assets or some shit like that.
Oh, okay. But
I don't know. It's just don't quote me on that. But I think I read something about that too.
Yeah, but we can both agree that he is going through a divorce right now. But yeah, he has a very successful earbud business. I forget what they're called, but yeah. So he's still doing well for himself, but he's definitely not on Kim K status.
Oh, no.
Um,
So, no.
um,
He's still definitely a stunt double in that one.
yeah. And then so now jumping into the 2010s, in 2015, the Ashley Madison hacking scandal happens,
Right.
where Ashley Madison was and I think it's still around, is
Yes,
a
it is.
famous website where people they go there intentionally for married people to have affairs with other married people. So it is specifically created for married people to have affairs. But it's meant to be discreet and all this stuff. And it had like over like 5 million users. And in 2015, they get hacked, and hackers threatened to um, release all of the user data, or if they don't shut down the website. And so, the love of money is the root of all evil. And they're like, we're not shutting down anything. And so the day comes, and the names get released, and of course marriages, friendships, relationships, careers all start to unravel and deteriorate, and people who thought they were in happy marriages turned out their spouse had been on the app for years and had no idea. And so that took place.
But before you move on, the key with that was that took the bloom off the rose that men cheat more than women.
Yes.
That turned out, that showed that was absolute, that whole trope that men cheat more than women was absolute bullshit. And that site proved it.
Yes.
That site proved it. I think the overwhelming clientele was women, I think, in that site.
Well, they had more men, but they did have a lot of women.
Okay.
Yeah.
They had more than what they thought. Okay. All right.
Yeah, more than people would have thought, because one of the issues with the company, because there was a whole documentary about this on Hulu.
Okay.
But so one of the issues that the company was having is that employees were saying that they had to make female fake accounts to cope to keep up with all the male accounts. So they didn't have quite as many female
Okay.
accounts,
All right.
but the women were up there in high numbers too. Like, it's not like it was just a few women to thousands of men. So yeah, this idea that these women, like, I was just watching a video today. I don't even know why I watched it, because I knew it was going to be trash before I even clicked on it, but I wanted to be raised. But there was this woman talking about how, oh, don't be a trad wife, because they paint such a rosy picture on social media, but in reality, your husband's going to leave you when you hit the wall, and you're not going to have any money, and you're just going to be broke, and you're not going to have any skills, and so don't be a trad wife. And I was just thinking to myself, because she says in the video, oh, well, 50% of marriages is divorce. And I was like, why is that? Who's the one leaving the marriages? And, this idea that the women are just so innocent, and that they just get left holding the bag in these marriages. And, oh, I was a perfect little housewife, and my husband, he left me for a younger woman and abandoned me with 4 kids, and I'm just a victim. That is just not true. And the fact that we're living in the information age with TikTok, of all places, these women, they're just up and running out on their husbands and saying, like, it's not even that he was a bad guy. I just wanted to. I just wanted to leave, and so I did. Like,
Yep. I think Tia Mowry is going to be the poster girl for leaving your husband over some trivial bullshit. She just put out her recent sob story of finding love. I forgot what the hell the name of the thing she just released. It was pitiful. She's so unhappy she don't know what to do with herself.
Yeah.
But that's another story.
Yeah, that's for a whole other show.
But she's going to be the poster child for leaving your husband over some bullshit. And we know that my man wasn't really a bad guy, because if he was, she would have blasted that all over the place.
Exactly.
And he hasn't said a mumbling word, not one word, nothing. So, oh man, what a life you guys live. I don't envy you young people at all, man. I swear, I look at my daughters, I say, let me cook you Sunday dinners, because man, that's the best I can do for y'all right now.
Yeah, it's anyway. Out here. And a lot of these women, they have this idea in their heads, these guys on social media, these guys that they went to high school with, or these guys that have never even seen them in real life. They're like, oh, if your husband, if he's not treating you right, and, I could do something for you, and, let me come see you. And they're just gassing their head with these delusions of grandeur. and like, oh, I can do better. And ma'am, you're soggy now. You're not the spring chicken that you used to be. You can't. And when they and like your idea of doing better, this new guy isn't going to put you in a house and love you and look after you and care for you. He just wants to hit it and run. Your husband actually cares about you as an individual. He's actually been with you. He's seen you pop out kids. He's seen you with your stretch marks. He's seen you at 2 a.m. He actually cares about you. And just because he doesn't bring you flowers every day or rub your feet or ask you how you're feeling, that doesn't mean that he doesn't care about you. These guys online, like, I just feel so bad for a lot of these women. They just let their mind.
But Jenny, these women know absolutely what they're getting into. They just want their pipes cleaned and shit, man. And all that other stuff they really don't want, man. That's all the illusion they throw out there. I need some affection, and they just want to get their cheeks pop. And as far as men are concerned, this is the flip side. Men are afraid to say what they do for their wives, right? We were on the panel. They kicked my ass because I said, I don't let my wife's her credits dry up. Oh, you simp, you this and that. Listen, that's why you guys are getting divorced. BMU kicked my ass, but he was out with his wife the other night and shit. Okay, so that's what you got to do. I told people, listen, if you're married, you got to keep romancing your honey, right? Because I burn my credits. I burn the shit out of them. So every so often I have to put more shit back in the account so my wife doesn't get too burnt out. Because I actually use them. I use my credits all the time. So I'm feeding the meter so she could be replenished, so we got like plans at the end of this month to do this and do that, kind of stuff that she likes to do. And then I'll burn those credits when we're finished. So that's how it is, man. You got to keep your wife, you got to keep that emotional currency going, man. Piggyback got to be full. But that's just me. I'll take the simp blows from all these guys that don't know what the hell they're talking about. But, that's how you have a 37-year-old marriage, man. You keep your wife not happy. You just keep the credits up. Because as men, we do burn them. We burn them like hell, man. People don't know they burn credits. Anyway.
Yeah, and I think that the term simp is thrown around a bit too loosely because it's not simping if it's reciprocated. And it's not simping if you're with her. Simp is somebody who is pining after or chasing after doing things for a woman who's not interested in them. Right. But you're married, and so you're getting.
Can't simp for your wife. You can't simp for your wife, especially if she caters to you. Really can't. I mean, I just throw that out there because I get razzed for telling what I do. But you're right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I hear you, and even though I don't pipe up when Anissa and Trey and you and BMU get all whipped up into a frenzy, I'm standing behind you.
I'm a PhD.
Don't come for me. But,
oh man, that was good. That was a good one.
And
all right, so what else you got going on for us? So we're in 2010s.
Yeah, so we're wrapping up.
I'm not in a hurry. This is good. Go ahead.
In 2015, that was when the Ashley Madison scandal happened. And then in 2016, that was when OnlyFans was created. And so once again, another watershed moment for, America, if not the world. I don't know if OnlyFans is allowed in even most countries. But yeah, in 2016, it was created. Even though it didn't really take off until 2020, people being at home, not, an idle's mind is the devil's workshop. And boy, was he working in 2020. And so, yeah, it was created in 2016.
Oh, so but before you go on, to keep your thought, let's stick on OnlyFans. Remember when they said they were going to change, where they were going to take all the prawn and all that stuff off of it?
Yes.
They were going to take all that stuff. I think they were doing a marketing thing because it was the stupidest idea that I think they wanted to kind of gauge what kind of backlash they would, because they changed their minds and it grew exponentially after that. Right. So I think it was a bluff all along to see how much pushback they would get and somebody did the economic analysis, it would be out of business. If they would have stopped the sex work on there, it wouldn't have made it. And so when they took that when they said, okay, we're gonna let you guys do whatever you want on it, it exploded. And then starlets and people who had some name recognition were able to make quick money on there, like the little young girl, Cash Me Outside chick, and whatever
Yeah.
her name is, Bergodi, whatever her name is.
Mhm.
And so and now women are saying, you know what, why should I work and study hard if I got a nice body and I can put some content on there? I can, maybe reasonably make a few $1,000s a month. Everybody's not making the big money, but I might, if I get a good, enough, I go in Fresh and Fit, I go in a couple other places, maybe I'll get enough recognition to get my subscriber numbers up. And I get money every month. Shoot, I'm having sex for chicken dinners. Shit, why won't I do that on now I can do it and get paid. So that's the whole thing. So that's enough. OnlyFans was a big watershed thing. So I agree with you.
Yeah. So I've seen this before, but now all of a sudden the search results have changed. So I find that very interesting. Okay, there we go. And so, yeah. So lost in translation, if you could give us the Price is Wrong one more time, please, my good sir. Because it says right here that the average OnlyFans creator makes between $150 and $180 a month.
That's the average one, because there's some real big ones, but there's some folks who just make enough, a couple of grand. That's a lot, but there's a few out there. But then there's people who make millions.
Yeah.
So they skew that. But you're right. The vast majority of people ain't making no money on OnlyFans, and they ruin their lives by opening an account. So.
Yes. Yeah. So, I'm sure that there's no one thinking about that watching this content, but ladies, think about that long and hard. Is your self-respect and your dignity and your forever, internet footprint, is it worth $150? Because there's a lot of things that you can do in this world that'll get you more than $150. I'm pretty sure that I haven't made this in a month, in one month, but I've made more than $150 on my channel so far, with my donations that I get, $20 here, $20 there. I went on one channel, I made like $81 in one night. So yeah, I mean, I make, somewhere around this a month, and I haven't showed my areolas one time. There's a better way. And OnlyFans it's not just the slot machine and you put your money in and then just the money just comes flowing out. It's not that, folks. A lot of times people, they get up there and they do all this stuff and they don't get any yield from it because the thing is that it's too saturated. The market is oversaturated. Anybody that's up there, you have to have some kind of a following already. You have to be giving some kind of thing that's not already available. Like these women, they get up there and they think, oh, I'm not going to do nudes. I'm just going to do bikini pictures and feet pictures. There's already 100 other women doing that. Like, why would I sign up for your OnlyFans? Like, what makes your feet so special? Like, you have to be doing something extreme and rare, or you have to just be someone who's already famous. Like, you can't just get in there. And
you got to be somebody famous to make the big money, the real big money, and willing to do it. So there you have it. Well, everybody thinks that they're going to be the one, right? Everybody gets on there, thinks they're going to be successful, or else nobody would try to do anything. It's like YouTube, right? Everybody starts a channel hoping they're going to get 100,000 subscribers, So I don't know.
Yeah, and at least with that, like the thing about YouTube is that I feel like YouTube is just very emblematic of success in general. And so if you put out consistent, relatively halfway decent content, if you put out halfway decent content consistently, you will see a yield. You will see results. You will build an audience of some sort,
right?
If you make halfway decent content consistent. I believe that. And because even I've been able to do that, and and we look all over YouTube, because YouTube is so big. Like there are people who have like millions of subscribers and you've never heard of them. And it's like, what?
That's right. It's true.
And so there's somebody out there for everybody. And so I've been able to find my little niche of people. You know, I have my Jeanettes. That's their new name. And so I've been able to find them, and I know that there's more out there, and all I have to do is just continue to put out my content consistently, and I'll find them. And so, you know, if you just stay consistent and work hard, you can build a platform on YouTube, but it's not costing me my dignity. I'm not handing over my integrity, which is like, you can't just be on OnlyFans and think that you're just gonna, you know, make cooking content and be in the top 1%. Like, you have to kind of forfeit some of your self-respect if you really want to be successful. Versus on YouTube, I never have to do that. I never have to show my butthole to try to make it big on YouTube.
Yeah, we need a noise for that one. That's for sure. Listen, if you weren't going to go on OnlyFans and do cooking shows, you might as well start a YouTube channel.
Yeah.
You know, you might as well start a YouTube channel. But that's funny. Okay, so what's next? What's next on the docket? We say OnlyFans. What came after OnlyFans?
Those are only two things I could think of for the 2010s. Because I feel like, I don't know, because my goal was to like do things that were like shocking or new for that time period. And I feel like by the 2010s, like everything's already been done by this point. And so, well, my last point was the 2020s, which was WAP by Cardi B, which, you know, which really wasn't especially raunchy or vulgar, but it got treated that way, and it went like super viral. And so that's what I have up for there.
I can no, don't pass WAP. I can give you something that WAP did, and it happened before then. But WAP was one of the first time presidential and political candidates used the popularity of ratchetness to try to get votes. Right, when they started to you know, interview people like Cardi B about issues, political issues and social issues, and Maxine Waters, who should be ashamed of herself, you know, praising a song like WAP, and all the black women who, mostly Democrats and liberals for sure, talking about that's empowerment, talking about how wet and juicy the box is. So I'm trying to keep it respectful. You know what I'm saying? So the fact is, it did have more. It had some social impact. Matter of fact, there was a video about WAP when she came out with Megan Thee Stallion, and it must have been 10,000 teenage girls singing the song with candles, with flashlights and phones lit up, word for word. Word for word in an auditorium. I'm saying, my God, you know, we're talking about lost. We got a lost generation. You know, our culture is just completely trash for anybody to look at this kind of song. So it did have some significance from that standpoint.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that.
I mean, I remember when Cardi B came out against one of the policies, and she got some kudos for that when she was saying about the healthcare, that you need healthcare so all the old women can get their putties checked and all that kind of stuff. That video went viral because she was right on that one. But coming from a person who couldn't even put like two sentences together, it was kind of funny. But she was right on that one. But she started to talk about social things because the politicians gave her a platform. She just doesn't keep, you know, she might be crazy other ways, but every so often she comes out with something because they're interviewing these people. And that's where the ratchetness now comes from, where Sexy Red is going to high schools.
Yeah.
You know, and they kicked her out of a high school. I just saw something. They kicked her out because she was reeking of reefer. She has so much stench of reefer on her. They kicked her out of high school because it's like the cloud. Like, what's the guy in Peanuts? He has a cloud that was behind him. Linus.
Yeah.
So whoever it was, she had a cloud of reefer smoke. But the kids follow her out. All these young black kids, and they're singing her songs. She's on top of the car singing to them, but she couldn't go into the auditorium. I'm just saying, man, we're lost. It's just lost, man. It's just, oh my God. So, or the girls go to the White House, to not the White House, go to the what's the half breed's name? The vice
Kamala.
president. Yeah, Kamala Harris, whatever her name is. They go to her house and all they want to do is sing rap music and shit like that. Some of them Sexy Red and Sukihana. Wait a minute. Wait a second. And she's supposed to say, maybe sit them down, regiment them, say, what's your aspirations? What do you want to be? But no, they're partying to, Sexy Red. I said, man, what an opportunity. And what they're doing is ratchetness, even in the face of a vice president.
Yeah.
I said, just stop it, man. Stop. But anyway, go ahead. What's next? Okay, so that's a good one. What was a good one?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
EAE just reminded me of Monica Lewinsky. I cannot believe I skipped over Monica
That's
Lewinsky.
right. That was yeah.
And no, I did not have sexual relations with that woman. Yeah, I mean, that was a big deal too. Because I mean, I of course wasn't around during that time. I was born during that administration. But I saw a docuseries about it. Not a docuseries, but like a dramatized reenactment of it. And yeah, I mean, it literally broke the internet at the time. And some even famous people to this day kind of got their name from doing that, from reporting on that. And yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah, we forgot about that one. Yeah. And what year? That was the Clinton administration.
I think that happened in 96.
So that was more of an indictment on men than it was on women, right? Because it showed you that no matter how successful you are as a man, no matter how much past the age of discernment that you are, you will still do something stupid for some box. This is the president of the United States. When she went into his office and showed him her thong, that's when he should have fired her on the spot, gave her a reprimand, and told her, listen, you know what? I'm not going to tell nobody about this, but don't you ever do that again. But instead, she sent him down a spiral of sexual fantasy. So I read the stories about her coming in every day, giving him a blowy, and him stopping her every time until, her saving the dress, the whole 9 yards, man. The guy, this is the president. And so when I argue about how men are almost powerless in the face of women and the opportunity for sex, if at any age, or maybe 10 to 15% of men at the moment can say no. The rest of I'm gonna say us, but not me because I'm there. But the rest of us are gonna fall like cheap suits. They're gonna fall like cheap suits. I mean, we talk about dick discipline and all that. It's just all horseshit. Man's nature is the strongest, most powerful thing out there in terms of what we want from women. And women's nature is powerful in their own way as well. And that's why we're meant to be together. That's because God intended us to be together so we wouldn't be stupid enough to stop procreating. Because we've been trying to do all kinds of shit for us not to procreate no more. And he says, nah, I'm going to sprinkle a little pleasure center here. I'm going to sprinkle a little pleasure center. Let me see you try, goddammit. He said, let me see you try. So there's a lot of stuff from that thing a lot of people don't analyze, women going into men's prisons, men going into women's prisons as guards. That should never be allowed. Now, both ways. So all the rules and all the regulations, all that shit, throw that shit out the window because our natural inclination to be together is more powerful than anything we could come up with.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that's
and then Lost in Translation, he mentioned the twerking senator. Now I'm not going to pull that up, but yeah, it was a senator, and she was like pining for votes, and she was twerking on the beach. Yeah. And then people called her out, Tiara Mack, I think that's what her name was.
Yeah.
And people called her out for it. Like, this is not decorum. This is not acceptable behavior from a sitting senator of the United States of America. And then she got indignant with them,
That's
saying
right.
that this is racism. How dare
I
you
was
try to
more.
tell me how I need to care of myself?
Well, first of all, I was more mad at her because she had a flat butt. I said, if you're gonna do it, it's got to be kind of impressive, man. So I can at least say, okay, you know what, you should do it. But I spent 2 minutes looking at the page. It wasn't really that. Oh my God, I don't. I said it's not. Yeah, it's not. I'm not impressed. As a matter of fact, I'm taking my vote back.
Yeah.
No, that was terrible. It was shameful.
Yeah, that juice wasn't even worth the squeeze.
Yeah, it was shameful, very shameful. And you're right. She got indignant about it. She sure did. She sure did. Yeah. So there's a lot of. So what's next, Jenny? Where we go from here? Where do we go from here? You're a young person. You're what? Yeah, you're like you're Gen Z, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
I am.
Yeah. So where do we go from here? It's your world. It's your world. What do we do? How do we fix it? Forget about blaming it on all the rest of us. We're all farts and stuff. I mean, what are you young people going to do to fix this quagmire that's been created by your parents and grandparents and everybody else?
Well, honestly, it's too far to be broke. It's too far to be fixed. Only thing that we can do is we can only control ourselves. Society as a whole is too far gone. That's how I see it, especially because I personally don't think that we're going to be around long enough to really rectify it. Because I think that Jesus is going to come back before then. But that's just my own personal opinion. But I think that we're living in the end times. Things are going to get bad. And things are going to get worse even if they were to get better, things are going to get worse. And so at the end of the day, all you can control is you. And so I look at these Black women who have debased themselves and turned themselves into court jesters for money, just completely devalued themselves just for money. And so I look at that, and that's a disgrace. And so what I can do is that I can just not do that. I can just be the change that I want to see. And I think that, more people should get married. So therefore I'm married. I think that more women should be submissive to their husbands. So I'm submissive to my husband. I think that people should reproduce. So I'm going to try to reproduce. And so that's all you can do at the end of the day is just be the change that you want to see and just try to live out the example that you want other people to do.
I hear you. And you know what? Here's the thing. There are more Gen Zers just like you out there. A lot of people don't really want to say that. I had a video about 4 women who were Gen Z. One was a very young millennial, so she was right on the cusp. And they were talking about work-life balance, and they were talking about how to navigate the waters such as they are now. It's not like they didn't want to work, but they just didn't want to make work. They didn't just want to live to work. They wanted to live to work. And the sister was on there. She was talking about, yeah, I want to have a family. I want to get married. I know I need to make money, but I want to make sure I can keep it in balance. And it was kind of refreshing. I have a video of these young people talking about that. And I said, well, that's refreshing, but you don't get enough of that. Because a lot of young people, even old ones, we're all guilty. We're all entangled in this so-called gender war that we have going on. And it's sapping our energy. It really is, because the productive things that we can do, we always digress in who's doing what to what. And it's the social media aspect, because it's clicks and views and it's what's salacious and not. It's more prevalent and more juicy than, how do we fix it? Because like what you said is, I don't know where the solution is going to be. It's going to be individual people have to decide they want something different.
Yeah.
And that's really what it is. That's why when I tell guys, if you want to get married, find a woman who wants to get married. Mm-hmm. Right? Don't try to change a woman who doesn't want to get married into one who does. The negotiation begins when you find somebody, your counterpart. I don't give a shit what age it is. And on Monday, when I have a show, I'm gonna do a show on this Pop the Bubble
Okay.
on this channel, BMU's channel, where this sister comes out, and she's absolutely the kind of woman I think people would want to marry. Okay. And I want to talk about the men's reaction to her. And the title of the show really is Are Black Men Really Intimidated by Successful Black Women?
Okay.
So, and it's funny because it's really funny. So it'd be nice to have people come up and kind of walk through this video because we're going to do a reaction of each guy's response to this woman. And it's two of them, but the second one is a little less impressive than the first one, but I just want to have a full show. But I think it'd be something to talk about,
Okay. And what time is that going to be?
I do it at 7 o'clock. I'm on Mondays at 7 o'clock on BMU's channel all the time.
And is
every
that
Monday,
Eastern or is that Pacific?
yeah, Eastern.
Okay.
Eastern.
All right, everybody. So be sure to put that in your phones. And I don't know if the thumbnail for that is up yet on the channel.
No, it's not up. He usually puts it out late. He treats me like an evil step cousin, so my stuff comes up late and shit.
Oh,
But I love you guys, so it's cool.
Okay, so you guys got to put reminders in your phone to check back over here on Monday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
I think we could have fun with that one. The men's reactions were killing me. I said, "Wait a minute, man! Jesus Christ!" So anyway, so that's my one plug for another show on this channel. So
yeah, thank you. And so that's pretty much all I had. That's all I had to say. So, are there any other things that you want to plug? Like, how can people find you? Are there other places that you go live?
No, I have my own channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. Is R Payne. You can go at R Payne MPS 1241. You can get there. And, I have a whole bunch of videos on there. I just do my live show on Wednesday, which is a sports show at 7 Eastern. Somehow I like 7 Eastern, And then that's right before BMU sports show at 8 o'clock. So I try to get it finished before his goes on. But, so that's a live show. The rest of it, I just got videos that have to do with marriage and relationships, politics, because I hate the Democratic Party. And I have a whole bunch of videos on why. So I don't just say it. And then I do sports, like my sports show. So I have a few things: marriage, politics, and sports. I talk about all, and it's amazing how little I know about a lot. It's amazing how little I know about a lot. Okay. So these YouTube streets have helped me a lot to reflect on my life. And so for that, I'm grateful. I'm retired, so I can do this stuff. I have time now.
Yeah,
I have time to reflect. So yeah, go to my channel and subscribe, but I'd like to share that Monday show over here with BMU, because I think that's a nice platform for me to talk as opposed to my lonely self over on my channel. But that's no big deal. I just started my channel. If I was going to be here, I should have a channel. I'm not really worried about all this, building into something, but I'm getting some subscribers, so, but I'm not really crazy about worrying about that. So if it happens, it happens. But I just like being up here. So I go on different channels. Some channels I stopped going to because I used to go to Fight Club and get my blood pressure up with those crazy ass people way back when. And they changed Fight Club. But I like going on a couple channels. This might be risky. I like going over there. These channels here, your show here, I like this show. And some other shows, JT, wherever I'm around. I go to Grace's channel every so often. And some Dee Dee, I go to her channel a lot. So a couple things like that. But I'm around. I'm starting to get a reputation. I'm trying not to make it a bad one, though. So I appreciate you letting me up.
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your contribution. You actually had, I'm just looking at it from, what the internet has preserved, but, you have firsthand accounts. So that's even better.
Yes, I appreciate it. Yeah, well, I'm glad you're married. You got a long way to go. Then just stay married and work all your stuff out, So one day you'll get shirts like me and my wife. We got his and her shirts about, we're annoying each other for 37 years and still going strong. We got 2 pictures on there. We do hokey stuff like that now. So you'll get there. You'll get there. So God bless you.
Thank you.
Yep.
And so, yeah. And then, of course, another thing is that you can usually catch Arpain and I here Tuesday nights on Black
Right.
Men Unfiltered on Flipping Tables. And
Right.
so, because you have a new fan, Kat, she wants. Are you looking at the chat, or do you have it so where you can't see it?
No, I can see it. Oh,
Oh,
okay.
okay. Yeah. So she's a fan of you, so she wants me to have you back sometime. So
Okay.
know that you're always
Sure.
welcome here on Candid Conversations with a Housewife.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, I'll be back. Yeah, anytime. Yeah, I like coming back. I was up here once before on your channel,
Yeah.
when all the men came up here, just like say, come here, let's just take this channel over. Let's take that was a nice conversation we had, though. That was great.
Yes, that was good. That was you and Lost in Translation and somebody else. I can't remember now.
I think it was a couple of guys came up. Yeah, we had a good time. So it was good.
Yeah. And I was
All
just
right.
sitting back letting y'all run the show.
So let me ask you, so you come up once a month or you're gonna try to do it more frequently? So you tell us when you're gonna be back.
Yeah, so as of right now, my BMU show has been transitioned to once a month. I just find that I really try to put out the best information and give out the best show that I can. And being that I'm already doing every week on my own personal channel, I find it kind of stressful to come up with ideas every single week for that. And so I don't
Yeah.
want to doubly stress myself every week
Right.
and then put out something that I'm not totally proud of or that I feel like it's half baked. And so like I was saying, that it's important to be consistent. And
Yes.
so I do every Friday on my channel, but I'm just not ready to get back to once a week over here. When things change, I might go to twice a month.
Yeah. That month go by pretty fast though, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah, it does. I mean, I do it weekly, but it's funny how things just come to me and say, "Oh, this will be good for the Monday show." So somewhere, I don't know how, I don't force it. Something just comes to me, and I say, "Okay, BMU, let's talk about this." And so I have 2 shows. I was going to show something else besides this reaction video, but the other one, if you don't mind, I'll say it right for not this week, but the week after. I
Mhm.
wanted to put out to everybody, what would you do if you had the power to change laws? Which laws would you write and which laws would you change? And we hit upon some of them today. And so I got a list of 10 things I would do if I had the power to change them. And I want to talk about that. But I think that'll be a little bit more serious. And I wanted to have a little bit more fun for my next show. That's why Monday is about the bubble. But the next Monday, I want to bring that up. So in the meantime, all you people out there, figure out what would you do if you had the power to change some laws. And if you don't do that once in a while, how do you know who you're voting for? Are they voting for the things you really want? Or are you just voting because they got the color of their skin? Or are you just voting because you're lesser of 2 evils? Ain't you tired of doing that? Is anybody really putting out policy that really would make a difference in our lives? So
Right.
that's what I want to talk about. Not this week, but next week, 7 o'clock on Monday.
All right. Yeah,
All
put
right.
it down, y'all. Put it down in
Yeah.
your notes.
All right. So thank you. Let me go so you can have your last word. Let me click down and you can have the screen and have your last words for everybody. So take it easy.
Thank you, Arpain. All right, that was great. That was a very fruitful discussion, I feel like. And he was able to give us some good insight. He gave us some more song references that I hadn't thought of or known about. And so that was a lot of fun. And so always, I am so glad that Black Man gives me the opportunity to come up here and speak to his audience and for me to speak freely as well, I feel like I can come up here and say what I want, and I don't have to worry about getting Candace Owens, and he's not going to give me the boot. And so I love this, and I really enjoy doing this. And he's working with me with my schedule, and when I come up here, and so we love all those things. So give it up for Black Men Unfiltered for actually being a contributor of free speech. And supporting young creators, because he's been doing it for a long while. And so I've just been, doing it for a few months now. And so helping me build my platform. And we just love to see it. And so, yes, you can catch me back here the first Saturday of each month. And so you will see me again on May 4th. So put that down in your calendar. Don't know what I'm going to talk about yet, but you know it'll be something good. So you want to make sure that you're seated for it. And you can check me on my channel on Friday nights. And yeah, and then, just kind of stay tuned over there, because when I'm not over there, I'm just all over the place. I'm on Risky's channel as well. I'm on CT Reacts. Mo Love, I'll be on her channel on Monday. So, what is that? Where in the world is Carmen Sandiego? Where in the world is Mrs. Jenny? And so you got to keep up. And so, yes, I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. Thank you to Bella Rings for her donation on Cash App. I saw that. I appreciate that. And I look forward to talking to you guys again next month. So, bye. Thank you.